annoying. It keeps doing the... I don't know why, but, I was literally speaking to myself. Um... Yeah. But I was briefly talking about, one, how you lost the first chatter role, and two, how I would normally, like, spend my New Year's just getting, like, a poutine or something. Like I would on, like, Canada Day, but, all, like, the nearby poutine places, or like, the places where you could get poutine are, like, closed down. The only ones I can think of now is the one in my mall, which, like, is alright. It's not really that great. The fries are too thin. And fast food places, which aren't specialized for poutine, which sucks. It's a real shame. Are you gonna be okay? You need that to live like all Canadians? It's okay. I got my injection from trying out a nearby poutine place. That place wasn't really good though. So I guess for the rest of my year, I'm gonna like spend my time like suckling on like maple candy. I need to get those too. Those are so good. Yeah. I was also talking about how I think like in the freezer and milk from a bag. But yeah. I was briefly talking about how this stream kept getting pushed back because I was beta reading for someone, and I was literally like on the final leg of it. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, I can't speak about it, but yeah, very very fun. Eye emoji.
I think some of the jury might find that his wounds make him look rugged.
I only got like a few spoilers from like the Kanto 9 thing. I had to like go like the hard way and just like and not only did I get spoiled, it was like in the most like Project Moon fashion too, where like someone was insanely horny like over a character, like just slobbering. It was probably the most pitiful way to gain like info from that Kanto man. But outside from that, I literally know nothing. So I am excited to see what happens. It's kind of why I want to I really want to like give this game like its proper dues. Her due, let's say, his due. But like, oh my god. The longer my days go on, the more I'm more likely to be spoiled. And not to mention, Arknight's Enfield is going to be a game I'm going to pick up soon.
I think some of the jury might find that his wounds make him look rugged. And furthermore, from an aesthetic perspective, leaving some of his buttons undone will...
Oh, for real? Does that come out soon? I think on like January 22nd. Excuse me?
You're clearly a very devoted martial artist, Sosuke.
Is that the one? Is that the 3D one that plays like Genshin? Or yes, that is the 3D one that they're like touting, as opposed to like the tactical thing that Arknight is known for. Really, I just want like an account that's like not that far behind, and also ideally not one with like annoying like grind mechanics that does with the original Arknights.
You should be proud to display your well-defined collarbones as the fruit of your efforts.
Yum. I mean, what?
Just hold still.
Appearances matter in the courtroom. 95% of defendants who are ever seen in prison garb at trial are found guilty. I don't doubt your tactics work, Morgan. My tactics included getting your suit pressed. Want me to wrangle it back up? I heard the story's like 100 years in the future and still has shit happening that they're actively trying to stop in the original Arknight story or something. Shit never changes? I just find them unpalatable. Trying to get the jury, these civilians to pity me is shameful.
You're worried about honor. Really? You're already a cybernetic ninja, Sosuke. Don't be a stereotype.
Don't call other people stereotypes.
He's right, Adonai. He's more of a cybernetic samurai, since he's sworn himself to a wealthy landowning noble.
I'm confused, Sosuke. Is it honorable how your family makes their money? Made their money? I'm not talking about morality. I'm talking about having principles. Yes, they're subjective. And yes, they can be hypocritical. But the further you stray away from the common path, the more you need them. I mean, what about her? What would Sarah be like if she didn't have tenets to guide her programming? Does he know?
I can only imagine.
But some people, believe it or not, enjoy their freedoms. Adrift in the middle of the ocean, you're free to go in whatever direction you want. But without a compass, you'll just die of exposure.
If you only ever follow exactly what the compass says, you'll sail north until you freeze to death.
The point is, if you have a compass, you know which direction north is.
Fortunate for us all, then, that this saves a 1,000,000 megawatt North Star pointing towards complacency at all times. And the media is like the wind, and without wind, they'll get stuck in the tide.
It was, nice try, Sarah. Forget it. Do whatever you want with your brushes, woman.
And you're pouting again. Great. Sarah, just keep him talking.
What? If I'm talking, how will you...
Trust me. I've done more delicate work before. Sarah, small talk. Gladly, Adonai.
Oh, okay.
Sosuke, do you happen to have any tattoos?
Are the jury going to ask about that or something?
They might.
Oh. Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do have a tattoo. A komainu on my back.
Komainu, a guardian dog.
Let's see what that is, buddy. Fucking tattoo review. Oh, bulky. Very bulky.
Have a tattoo of a dog?
It's a fierce guardian deity.
Like a Labrador, or...
Oh, the Komainu, they made a Danganronpa joke in Ice Omnifiles based off that one? Oh, I didn't know they played ball like that. Like a great, fierce, a big dog. I bet when Komainu, like Komae or something.
Perhaps you should have changed it to some other design, like, say... Like...
I'm just gonna quickly send this. Hold on. I have one oomph named Michael. He sometimes pops up on this chat. I need to just like send him this in DMs, okay? He is a big Like a Dragon fan. And we are both in the Century of Humiliation with Kiwami 3. Hold on. If there's any more reason for you to get into this game. There we go. There's no switching.
The buyer's remorse must be unbearable.
There's no buyer's remorse.
Lift your chin.
You really think they'll feel bad for me because of some cuts and scrapes?
You're not good at listening to instructions, are you? Prosecution has to get 12 strangers to agree that you killed 5 men. Each charge has to be unanimous. A perfect score.
So any chip damage we can do, any doubt we can sow, we take it.
And any advantage we're given,
we make full use of it. But the advantage to talk about is my face.
You're really not used to this kind of attention, Sosuke.
Look, it may be true that, at times, some women have expressed...
And men, no doubt.
W-by? All I'm saying is that there's a difference between knowing your strengths and powdering up like this.
Pretend it's war paint.
Is that how you see it?
No, but I'm a grown-up. Thank you for entertaining my questions last night, Sosuke.
Did she ask you about your dimensions?
Subject might have come up.
She's a talkative one, isn't she?
Sorry if she kept you up all night.
No, she's no trouble, just curious. Reminds me of... We discussed history.
Oh. Well, then she must have put you right to sleep. Adonai. It was his choice of subject. So you read history, Sosuke. Here, I assumed you spent all your free time frowning in the corners of the room with your arms crossed. We talked about the Roman Empire for your information.
And criminal empires.
Nothing too detailed, I hope. But Sosuke, I still don't understand. What did you mean when you said criminal organizations used to be structured differently?
Only that the old ways don't fit our new 21st century world.
Old ways?
Well,
He's talking about race, Sarah. Race? I don't understand. I don't see color. Why must you make this game political?
Well, that's to be expected. After all, you share 98% of your components with a washing machine.
That is an untrue and unflattering comparison.
Maybe you do get it. Look, Sarah. Names like Mafia, Gokudo, Sanihoi, they all come from different cultures, but they all refer to a kind of path. An outsider's path. And the pride that comes with living by your own set of rules. Those were the first criminal organizations. Underground guilds, lending systems, militias, secret societies.
So sure, they were basically just big friendly charities.
Then the world got smaller. People started moving around, and the Mafia changed. It became a way for immigrants to band together to have some kind of power in places that wouldn't give them a chance at anything remotely respectable.
Actually true?
But the world kept getting smaller, more complex, and eventually, that kind of community couldn't form, let alone survive.
Why?
Not enough shared experiences.
Shared experiences. I see.
Fancy way of saying the internet came along. Well, yes. Technology negates the physical distances between people. When you spend most of your life online, you end up with more in common with people on the other side of the planet than your own neighbors. Just because of where your recommendations take you.
So the immigrant experience disappeared?
Fractured more like. Cracked it to be in charge with a hammer. While generational or economic experiences got cemented. The world is more diverse and varied than it's ever been, in every sense. Except economically.
Wealth inequality is at historical highs.
As it has been every year since before I was born. To answer your question, Sarah, that's what binds the members of a criminal organization to one another. Their socioeconomic status. Dialectical materialism up in this bitch? Okay. House of Korea's at the top. The Blue Bloods lie below us. Within each organization, wealth is concentrated among the leadership, of course, but each mafia exists in entirely different strata.
I see. I've also read about an organization called the Rust being active here in the city. Are they in the poverty class, then?
The Rust? I'd put them in the anarchy class. Glowing tattoos and spiked hair, chrome biceps and sharpened teeth. The Blue Bloods, for all their faults, can put on a tie and go to work, but I can't see the rest experiencing any kind of social mobility.
Careful, Sosuke. If the rest heard you being that classist.
The rest wouldn't care anything about what I said or who I stand with. They don't need an excuse to start ripping open mob modders and grabbing whatever they can. Owned?
Things like that happen in the city?
Only in the shadows, Sarah. Nowhere you'd ever find yourself. Hint. He's calling you privileged.
Finally went out of steam?
On to the grim business, then. How'd things go with your investigation? That bad, was it?
Nonsense.
It was pretty bad. With what I've seen so far, there's no one else who could have killed Chopin.
Even if I managed to pick apart all the evidence for the pod's deaths, I've got a police officer who will swear on stand that he arrested Sosuke standing over his partner's dead body.
What's it going to look like in there? You've never been inside a courtroom? Never as a defendant. I'm just wondering how many cops you should expect.
In the gallery?
A sea of blue.
Cheap intimidation tactics.
Yes, but I can't fault them for that. We line up to much the same for one of ours.
You say that, yet I don't see any other Ikari around.
This is a completely different scenario. The house can't afford to appear beside a cop killer when they're being audited by the state.
How understanding of you.
How did I?
I think Sosuke is sad that his friends haven't shown up.
Catch.
You were hired by Makoto of House Ikariya, weren't you, Adonai? Surely he would have wanted to be in attendance.
Don't be absurd. Makoto shouldn't be transported anywhere without a full security team. Besides which, he should be put through the long elevator ride to this 48th floor just for my sake. Damn, the elevators are still slow here? Not even like, not even like a thing to like, just like absentmindedly look at? Like, scroll through like, news or something?
What's so bad about an elevator ride? Is he claustrophobic?
No. Yes, but I cannot tell anyone, understand?
Who the hell would I tell that to?
Right.
Look, it's illegal to stream trial proceedings under most circumstances, but I'm sure House Ikariya doesn't mind paying a fine. They'll be watching from somewhere in the courtroom.
That would be a waste of the house's coin. But I suppose they might consider keeping an eye on the case's progression.
As will the Blue Bloods, no doubt.
Adonai. I think Sosuke's spirits have rallied.
Really? How can you tell?
Oh, hello!
He lifted his gaze and eyes seemed brighter, as if... Good. Now try and keep your spirits high.
How do I do that?
Think of something fun.
Right.
Sosuke, shall we arm wrestle? Oh. Good morning, Morgan. Morning, Emma. You seem tired.
When has she ever not been tired?
Want to push yourself till next week?
Actually, that sounds...
Hey. Sorry. But we'll be phasing off soon enough. Want to save the playfulness while we still can. Fair enough. Losing sleep over this case? Oh, really, no. Things look pretty cut and dry to me. What about you? You toss and turn all night before your big debut as a mob lawyer? Not at all, I slept like a rock. Lucky. I mean, I've been getting good rest, more or less. Just been having a lot of late nights recently. Late nights? Like, going out? No. Just late night chats.
With who?
Chatting about what?
Is that jealousy?
God. Look at all of them. Never seen so many cops in one building. Bring a marching band to the courtroom if they could. Hater. Right. Well, Peter and Trial weren't all that far back in ancient Greece. Would hope we progressed since then. You don't have the approve of this show of force, I take it. My Yuri? Is it that obvious? I'd like to say this is because of who Chopin's family is. We both know that's not what this is really about. Cop is dead. The state wants to make it clear that that isn't tolerated. Cops volunteer to defend our laws and protect the citizens. Volunteers don't get paid. Besides, cops, courts, the state, all they can do is enforce the laws, not defend them. Guns and arms can't defend against corrosion anyway. Rock comes from the deep. So you'd rather that the death of a police officer get the same treatment as any other citizen? Suppose that's not possible. They get increasingly fewer chances to play victim every year, and they never let the opportunity pass. No. I guess the best I could hope for is that the state makes the same show of force whenever any crime is committed. If they treated every death like they death of a cop, maybe I could have caught HBK by now. You're still on that? Of course. Shooting deaths are down, but do you know how many missing persons cases there are in the city? How many deaths get written up as mod harvesting attacks gone wrong? It's a big city, Morgan. More than enough blood running through the streets for HBK to launder their kills in. You shouldn't joke like that. What, you don't believe me? Just last month. Missing person. The report was filed by their employer when they didn't show up to work, 7 days after they had been last seen by anyone. They were just some part-time worker. No close friends, no family. They went to work, they came home, paid their bills, and they disappeared. And no one cared or even noticed until their job didn't get done and those bills went unpaid. No one noticed until they stopped buying in. Politic! Oh my days! The body was found a full 2 weeks later. The decay was... What happened to them? Blunt force at the back of the head. Something metallic with a sharp corner, we think. It was a roughly cube machine part I pulled from a dumpster nearby. It fit snugly in my hand, and it came through his skull like a shovel through snow. Kicked into the bay. It might not have even been weighed down. Just thrown away like cheap. That's terrible. Finally belonging on them? No. They're probably unlucky then, right? No, there would have been other injuries from the struggle. And the thief who accidentally committed murder would be too panicked, too terrified to... You know how muggers think now? I can learn how anyone thinks. Even HBK, with a robust enough profile. Oh, good luck building it all by your lonesome. Hmm? I'm not working on this by myself. I forgot that was just a courtroom bell. Not like... I thought this was the first instance of like the ominous bell tolling for Morgan there. For like a quick second there. Sorry. Right. Did you want to beg for mercy real quick before we begin? Now, where would be the fun in that? And as it turns out, they were both tops. The courtroom gallery is quite full today. Watching a sea of pissed off cops.
Doesn't exactly shore up one's confidence, does it?
5 counts of murder would be newsworthy any day of the week. And the fact that one of the bodies belongs to a cop and a crowd was to be expected. Didn't think they'd be so quiet though. Maybe they're all just waiting for the firing pistol before they start casting their stones.
What, if he gets, like, found guilty, are they literally just gonna, like... Are they just gonna have, like, Sosuke, like, sit in, like, the middle of, like, the courtroom? And just, like... They're all gonna start like, pelting stones at him?
Don't let it get to you, Sosuke. They're just posturing.
It's like a flash mob, but for, like... the death penalty. Posturing, I understand. I've been in attendance for my share of tense negotiations. But the bloodlust in those rooms was always mutual.
You don't feel any animosity towards those cops?
420 subscribers, nice. Seeing myself out. I can't wait for, like, the 670, like, subscriber milestone. That's like the closest where we'll like ever get to, like, normalcy with these, like, sub bits. They all hate his ass so bad. But he's my prettiest problem, I'll tell you that. I'm used to summoning my temper on command. Are you doing a 670 subscriber special? No, it's just 670. I guess for that day, like whatever we like stream next, like the 6-7 rule is, like, temporarily, like, lifted. I might have forgotten how to get angry for my own sake. Is that oh, like, oh, or like ooh, like you're like you're being opportunistic just to spam meme numbers again?
You just worry about the jury.
What about the adjutant? Opportunistic? They cannot be intimidated by muscle, bribed with cash, or disarmed with fine tailoring. All of which makes them quite favored when it comes to prosecuting organized crime.
I've been in court many times before then.
It's an eye for an eye in the world we operate in. There was a time when 420 was the king of numbers. Man, those were the days. We don't file assault charges, we just answer them. Though even that has become rare. The house is elevated. Blue bloods and rust and all the rest of the rabble. We're beyond their reach now. When it comes to our peers, we communicate very differently.
Must make being a bodyguard pretty boring. I think your work sounds very rewarding and exciting, Sosuke.
Thank you.
Especially the other day when you were captured and beaten by a rival.
Yes. What I was trying to hint at, Morgan, is that you should not be expecting assistance from the house.
Honestly, the thought hadn't crossed my mind.
Being on the winning side for once? How would that even feel like?
That there won't be any men in black approaching the jury during lunch and offering them paper bags of cash?
No.
Well, if we do really bad, we wouldn't even make it to lunch, so... Sosuke, what are you staring at? Are you looking for the jury?
No, I know they aren't here. It used to be mandated that juries be physically present for court proceedings. People felt it was important that they look the accused in the eye.
To help them evaluate their character.
Why bother? Most people suck at that. Always have. Even my own partner. True. Perhaps it was considered part of the punishment then. To have to look at them and to have to look them in the eyes.
Punishment for the jury. Or the defendant.
Alright, kiddos. Chins up. Shoulders out.
Show's about to start.
I just remembered. You think the adjutant's assigned to this particular case?
Obviously, it's gonna be me. Obviously. Yay! Yay! Here we go. In her honor. I love her so much. I love her so much. Chat, I'd like to like horny post like a little bit, okay? Because I wanted to bring this up at some point during these streams. I came across my timeline, like I think at some point, like a fan art of the adjutant, and in particular, the adjutant was like spread eagle, right? But like it's obviously like nothing under there, but she just says like it's only explicit if you're imagining something. I wish I had that on hand, but like when I went to go look back for it for like the stream, because it's not like actually NSFW. It's just like it's just like suggestive, but like, but like you say fan art, but the official artist would draw something like that. I haven't seen it though. Yeah. The only thing is that like the artist for that recently migrated to Blue Sky because the recent like the Imagine thing, like the Imagine with Grok thing, which has been going insane by the way. They apparently had to like scrub like all the media. Oh, is it? I might actually know. Wait, you know the artist? It's not. Yes, it is Puppet. If you have it on hand somewhere, please post it in stream chat. Please, it's so funny. Let me log into Blue Sky. Thank you. I cannot even be asked to like actually go and like even create an account to that site. I mean, that's a gimme. Easy.
How? It's 80. What are the chances?
Likes mountain air, gymnasts, luxury. Dislikes happy couples who ask you to take their photo. Pineapple on pizza until proven guilty. I mean, honestly, it's not that bad. It's genuinely not that bad. Shopping carts always return. Nice. Favorite quote: let he who is without sin play first or draw first. You just like pulled that one from like a book. You're not thinking about that actually. Should be at least 83 other personalities in the buildings at work. At least.
Well, Your Honor, thank you for
presiding so honorably. I do try. Try. Because it's a trial. Tougher crowd than usual. And that's not counting all the grim modelists standing out tall out there in the gallery. Who died?
5 people, Your Honor.
Yikes! What's the damage? This media tab is fucking crazy. Who, of the artist? Yeah, there. Is it older? I'm pretty sure it's older. There's Surely they didn't forget to repost it, right? Found it? Yes! What's the damage?
2 counts of manslaughter, 2 counts of homicide in the second degree, and 1 count of homicide in the first degree.
Buddy, you trying to set a gold splitter with all that? What's with the record-setting grind set?
Prosecution stands ready.
So shall we begin? Credits always say, oh, nice. 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 I hope that they had that in too for episode 1. That's really cool. Should I just post it straight up, or like probably a spoiler tag will be nice. Spoiler tag should cover all of our bases here. Now, let's crack open those opening statements and get this case summarized.
Gladly, Your Honor. People of the court. Defendant in this case is a man named Sosuke Ikariya. It was found at the scene of the crime where 2 men were shot to death. One stabbed in the neck, another had their skull bashed in, and a police officer was impaled through the back with a sword.
Oh. Cop killing piece of shit. Yes! That art is so good. And their other art too. Anyways.
Please pardon any outbursts from the gallery that your mics may inadvertently pick up. Now I understand the scale of violence on display here today. May intimidate you. But I want to stress to all of you now that taxing your responsibility here today is neither... Sorry, but I want to stress to all of you now that your responsibility here today is neither taxing nor complex. You will hear testimony. You will be shown evidence. And all of it will point towards the truth. That the defendant is the only individual who could have possibly committed. That is a simple fact. And the only one you need concern yourself with.
Oh, she's as cold as ice. But every ice age beckons a kindling. Whereas ashes calls to cinders and embers form champions.
Defense is ready, Your Honor.
Emma did stick to cold logic, so if I follow her with more of the same, it'll end up falling flat. This gallery will never warm up to us. That can work to our advantage if the jury comes to see these cops as witch hunters eager to start a pyre. Choose the most outlandish words you can. Go for broke. All right, we are rage baiting. We are going to be thrown out of court with this one. It's not like Masters never taught me anything. I know how to do the razzle-dazzle. My fellow citizens, you were brought here today because an act of violence took place that can only be described as... Wild. I should know. I was there. I saw the blood on the ground, the bullet holes in the walls, felt the horror that radiated in the air. And also saw where my client was held prisoner. And I knew exactly where he must have stood, because his sweat and blood had stained the tile. My client, a decorated veteran, the man you see next to me here, not even fully healed from his...
from his torture, was taken to police custody with lacerations, bruises, internal bleeding, broken bones. Oh, so this is like your last chance to like get more chips in? Nice, nice. And while he was in police custody, he somehow sustained a black eye, a busted lip, a broken nose, and a boxed ear. A puzzle which I'm sure any one of the officers in the gallery today would be happy to testify about.
You gonna let us say that?
Want me to object during an opening statement? Much is resting on the outcome of this trial. 5 men lie dead in the morgue. One of them, a police officer, Tarek.
Don't speak his name, you mob lawyer bitch. Hang him up. Hang her too. This is... Hey, we like to have fun in this courtroom. Put on a good show. But that's because we're on the stage. Any more outbursts from the gallery and I'll clear the entire room. You can all watch the rest on your phones or peek it through the keyhole like a bunch of sweaty looky-loos. Counselor, let's wrap this up.
Yes, Your Honor. The fact of the matter is, on that night, I climbed on any condition to kill anyone. Not 400 criminals, and certainly not a trained police officer. Nothing about my client's background, his associations with that of the victims can change that fact. Those who listen to all the evidence of this trial, with fairness and impartiality as I know you all will strive to. I only ask that you focus on the reality of this horrible crime, not on the fiction that the people will try to read for you. Thank you.
Decorated veteran?
You never earned a simple commendation? Most push-ups of the day or something?
Never mind. I suppose it could have gone much worse.
You're too kind.
I was trying to be honest. The crowd got agitated, but you maintained the level head and recovered your tempo.
Adonai is a master at doing so. I've seen her make comebacks from the most nonsensical mistakes before. In martial arts, they call it a nukemi, a graceful fall.
That is basically correct.
Well,
try not to gracefully fall over when you see the first witness on the docket, Sosuke. What do you mean by that?
your name and occupation for the record?
And he's a hologram. No. What are you doing here? The goat? What, you mean the Nepo? The Lion does not concern himself with appearing physically at court.
How can that be necessary? If some blathering idiot in that courtroom does already know who I am, they don't deserve.
I know, but
Would you consider it if only for the sake of ceremony?
ceremony
It is important and should be respected.
very well. I am Makoto Ikuria of House Ikuri. My occupation is that of a student.
Don't look so smug about it when you blatantly lie. Right, of course. And your position with the Ikuria Financial Group?
Is not salaried. Must I really declare it here?
Hard to imagine why the noble house of Ikuria is getting audited. Sosuke, are you alright?
Can he see us?
You can see me, Rockford and the adjutant. Witnesses testifying don't really need much else.
So he's safe?
Yes, Sosuke. He's safe. Like he was yesterday. Probably sitting right where I left him, or standing in a box. I think the hologram's giving him a boost so he can see over the stand.
That's good.
The boost to his height?
That he's safe at home.
I'm sorry that he can't see you, Sosuke.
Don't be. After how horribly I failed him,
I'd like to speak a bit more about the events of August 13th.
But the last time we still the defendant.
Sosuke Ikuria. I'm here today. Not physically, but here nonetheless, as a courtesy. That does not mean I will flop my gums like some sort of Flapping gum puppet.
I wish to treat the witness as hostile incoming. Emma Rockford breaking his spoiled bride over the coals. It's almost be worth the price of admission alone. I understand. It was a traumatic experience, I'm sure. Anyone of normal upbringing would barely be able to recall a single detail, let alone the day's full events.
Normal upbringing?
I should probably dismiss you so you can get back to your summer studies.
Summer studies, like some common waif?
Wait?
That's quite the vocab hole.
I don't know they taught that in State Basic.
Basic?
Was I mistaken?
Listen well, Madam Rockford, as I demonstrate to you exactly how misguided you are to the powers of my retention.
Please do. Played like a damn fiddle. Why wasn't she mentioned during any of our trial preparations?
Like art museums, amethysts, turn-based RPGs, S&T head, S&T head, S&T head, S&T head? Question mark, question mark, question mark? He's so blatantly trans femme. Dislikes ballrooms, boardrooms, and cliques. River quote, flower in the mirror, moon on the water. Favorite subject, psychology. Exercises by. Subjects seem not to hear the question. That's what I'm talking about. Talking about. I'm just gonna like. I'm just gonna like pretend that like, as soon as Morgan like got that like profile like, and then like she like looked down at the bottom there, like she just like clicked her heels, like. Why wasn't she mentioned during any of our trial preparations?
Adonai has only won against her once.
So far. Every hot streak starts somewhere. Hot streak? I really am going to prison, aren't I? Where shall I start?
As far back as you can.
A simple task. For the past year, members of the organization most commonly referred to as the Blue Blood Mafia have been making attempts on my life. Did you steal that much money or something? I am the primary beneficiary of my grandfather, Daisuke Ikaria's will. In common parlance, I am the sole heir to the Ikaria financial group. It buys so much lunch. The group you know as the Blue Bloods have been jealous of my family's financial foresight for decades. I am merely the most recent target of their impotent attempts to nip at our heels.
And 2 days ago, on August 13th,
how impotent was their attempt then? I was leaving a meeting held on the upper floors of Crane Tower. My security detail escorted me to the elevators, where we would then proceed down to their canopy access floors.
this was all planned out in advance?
By my head of security, Sosuke Ikaria. But the elevator became stuck with unnatural timing. When Sosuke pried the doors open, we saw that we were stuck between the 62nd and 61st floors. 6-1.
Pried open? The tool? Leading the witness, Your Honor?
He didn't need a tool to open the doors. His bare hands were more than sufficient.
Up Sosuke out here, kid. We submit to evidence defendant Akita Type 2 defendant's Akita Type 2 military grade spinal mod. Designed to enhance strength, endurance, and reflexes for high-intensity combat scenarios.
Yes, sir. It is so admitted.
What happened next?
The decision was made that we would crawl out onto the 61st floor and head for the service elevators. But once Sosuke and I exited, the elevator started up. It was a trap. We had been cut off from the rest of my detail.
You were isolated and defenseless. That must have been...
Hardly defenseless. You really think my personal head of security wouldn't be armed? He had Yoru.
Don't tell me. You named your sword?
All great swords have names.
Thank you, Sarah. Very well put. Oh, shit. Okay, it's just been updated.
Identified by Makoto as Sosuke's personal with sword Yoru. Taken along with Sosuke down to the lower wards following the ambush of Makoto. Let the record show that the witness has identified Exhibit B3 as belonging to the defendant. The sword was recovered by police in a known blue blood den in the lower wards. Found impaled into the body of Derek Chopin. And forensics has shown that the only fingerprints on it are those of the defendant. There's still time for you to Sona, Sosuke. You understand nothing about a swordsman's heart, Adonai.
Once again, it is your paralegal that is the right of it. Perhaps you should be leading my defense.
If this somehow turns into a fencing competition, I'll gladly defer to you two. So you, Sosuke, and Yoru were on the 61st floor together. What happened next? When we arrived at the service elevators, Sosuke called them. And then they made a chime. And I didn't clearly see much of what happened next, to tell the truth. Figures emerged from around the corners. They were aiming weapons at me. A red dot shone on my chest. And then Sosuke was there, and a needle was sticking out of his arm. Yoru glinted. Sosuke had drawn in the blink of an eye. Something glanced off it and dropped to the floor. I saw a syringe at my feet. Yoru's sheath was thrust into my arms, pushing me back into the elevator, and I landed on my rear.
That's clearly a key piece of testimony.
Alright.
Let's play it back 5 times.
What matters is he pushed me back into the elevator with Yoru's sheath. How I landed is irrelevant and should be stricken from all public records. The only other thing I saw was Sosuke's back. He slammed his hand against the elevator's control panel, and then the door shut. That's the last time I saw the defendant? The decision was made that I should get on a VTOL as soon as possible. But much of my details stayed behind to assess what had happened. Yes, they were very helpful to building security and recovering Exhibit 5-C, hypodermic needle gun. A needle gun and projectiles found in Crane Tower, where Makoto and Sosuke were ambushed. Smile utilized the same kind of projectile needles recovered from the room where Sosuke was held interrogated. Oh. Fingerprints on the weapon matches the victim creek. Okay. That was just drink. Okay.
What kind of bonehead would leave evidence like that behind?
A bonehead in a rush, perhaps, Your Honor. It does appear to have exhausted its gas canister, so it may have outlived its usefulness. I take it that this weapon is a match for the projectile needles found in the room where my client was restrained. Correct. Exactly like them were recovered from the scene of the ambush as well. Okay. Makoto, did you see the faces of the men who attacked you? All too clearly. I can tell you every detail of their roughshod countenances.
Oh, that sounds like a good bit of testimony. Hit it! Oh shit, no!
Oh, that's nice. Find him head like lineman and Ranko Pathology came at me first. They aimed at me, but Sosuke got between us and blocked every shot. With Yoru, he could have closed the distance, but then a dark-eyed scoundrel approached from the right. And a man with a ridiculous pompadour took advantage of that distraction. I'll never forget the faces of those cowards. They tried to kill me. Okay, well that's I love her seeing so mad. She's so beautiful, man. I'll let her kill me. They couldn't have been trying to kill with a witness. Not with non-lethal projectiles. They fired a lot of them. The witness doesn't weigh that much. Don't try it. This attack was clearly planned with the intent of capturing Makoto alive. Meaning what? That 4 of this case's victims were actually soft-hearted pacifists? It's actually back by just interpolate back on? Bacon, who would you rather, like, who would you rather be killed by, Morgan or Emma? I'm consulting my lesbian my lesbian mod here. Morgan spammed with no hesitation. Okay. Glad I found a friend in. My bad? Sorry for what? Being right? Come on now. There's nothing soft-hearted about what they did to my client after capturing him. Using tools they clearly originally planned to use on the witness. So they're sadists? I'm getting confused here. So is the defense, Your Honor. What matters is that the witness has identified the defendant's captors as the 4 blue blood victims that he is accused of murdering. Makoto did establish that much, but something about his attack still bothers me. Emma put Makoto on the stand specifically to identify the victims. Is it possible that the men who attacked them weren't Creek's pod? I don't disagree, Your Honor. Oh. The men who attacked Makoto and took Sosuke captive are the same ones who ended up dead that night. But 2 questions do occur to me. Why were you safe on that service elevator if Sosuke surely collapsed the very moment it shut? Wouldn't these men have pursued you by any means necessary? That is... I can answer that, Your Honor. When the police inspected the scene, they found that the control panel for calling that elevator on the 61st floor was broken. Smashed, in fact. The attackers would have to manually pry open the doors to even attempt to chase after Makoto. And that would take remarkable, modded strength. Did you mash the button that forcefully, Sosuke? I may have, used more force than necessary. I wasn't exactly trying to hold myself back at the time. Gave the controls hard enough to break them? So the Blue Bloods couldn't pursue you further, and instead elected to take Sosuke captive. A Sosuke in the hand is better than Makoto in the bush! The head of Makoto's security surely would have made for an invaluable source of information for planning future attacks. Were he made to talk. Are you denying that? No, but I would like to ask the witness one other question. Why'd you get off the elevator in the first place? What are you? Hey, why did I mention the lobby earlier? That's... might not be picking up on it for you, but from where I'm sitting, I can't help but overhear my client groaning about how badly he failed you. That's not evidence or testimony, and so should be stricken from the record. But we get the idea! So is bailing out early the defendant's big brain idea? As the head of my personal security detail, such a decision is ultimately his to make. However, that decision may have been influenced by his knowledge of the fact that I am not especially comfortable in the closed spaces. How are you doing? Are you trying to humiliate him? In part. I'm also trying to insult you. What are you doing, Morgan? Had we simply waited, we would have remained safe, but I was not comfortable and felt very warm. So it was not a tactical failure on Sosuke's part, per se. Just an error of judgment. Counselor Morgan. What's up? You can just call it. Ask me another question. Ask me about how bravely Sosuke defended me. Huh. So that's your angle? We can't all be as naturally gifted at extracting valuable testimony out of spoiled brats as Emma. But I can follow her example. Insult their pride, and these eager to snap back, as reliable as any knee-jerk reaction. In Makoto's case, with infinitely less resistance than if I had simply asked him to testify. It's usually the lawyers who do the asking and the witnesses who do the answering. This is not very realistic. We asked that the witness testify for the court in more detail about how exactly about exactly how valiantly Sosuke fought off the attackers.
And I guess the people don't object, even though it seems super extra.
No, the people don't object, Your Honor. I must play passively. Either I'm onto something here, or I'm walking into a trap. Screw it. All in on the former. Needle guns? Sosuke Med records. Needles. Okay, I need to save this just so I can... Oh, no! You bastard! Sosuke was outnumbered from the beginning. And protecting me the whole time. It didn't matter that we were ambushed, the Blue Bloods had projectiles. Sosuke took up Yoru in both hands and swatted their needles out of the air like a graceful swatter. He fought off 4 attackers and without sustaining a single injury. Mock him if you dare for being captured. But that's not a failure. Not by any general's definition of the word. Uh-oh. So I guess it would be, where was the... What was the other one? Shit. That's bad. Needle, I think. Okay. The contents within the match. The non-lethal anesthetics found in Sosuke's bloodstream at the time of his arrest. Though other needles were found contaminating stimulants and drugs commonly marketed for this. So yeah. Needles identical to these were recovered in the tower where Sosuke and Makoto. Here Makoto describes Sosuke's heroism. It's almost more impressive the second time. Definitely fought without a care for himself. There's evidence to show it. I guess it would be the medical examination then, no? Yep, that's true. Weird note. Unscathed is the last thing anyone would call my client after seeing the events of that day. One look at his medical data from when he was arrested will tell you that much. What are you getting at, counselor? The defendant's injuries were sustained at the Blue Blood's den, not at Crane Tower. The police didn't even find one drop of blood anywhere near that service elevator. Well, that is a miracle. A bloodless ambush. But the fact that no blood was found makes it all the more painfully obvious what actually happened to that elevator panel. Elevator panel? Ugh. My client broke half the bones in his left hand, smashing it up. Did you really? I might have. There was a lot of adrenaline at the time. Did you not form a proper fist? Was your wrist not in alignment with your forearm? As I said, Sarah, there was a lot of adrenaline. Do you deny his medical record clearly shows his left hand was broken? Your Honor, what does it matter that the defendant broke his left hand closing the elevator? It changes nothing about the witness's testimony. I love how I save after all of these times like I just don't I just don't tank the damage anyways. No. Of course it does. How so? Try to think. What? Good saving habits? But he was technically wrong, Emma. Emma. He said it was without sustaining a single injury. Come on. Come on. God damn it.
Okay. Now that it's not playing any music right now, before like the cool part, my Shake Shack is here, so I will pick up my food real quick. Yep. I'm pretty sure earlier mistakes were technically chip positive because of the blind increase. We're going for high score here. Okay. Try to think before you speak, counselor. The student has had enough trouble staying focused as is. Well, it may be true that this wrinkle doesn't change the witness's testimony, but it does change the nature of the evidence you had him identify for the katana. Yoru. Yoru. Its name is Yoru. We get it. Do you have a point to make, counselor? There's something odd about the katana that's been entered into evidence. Something that makes no sense, given what we learned about the outcome of this ambush. Namely, the sword's... Sword's been chipped. How could that be the case? And Sosuke's a master swordsman. I wouldn't go that far. Also, master swordsman isn't a real rank.
How are swordsmen ranked, then?
Well, there's the strongest swordsman in the world, and then everyone who also ever break the sword loses them. Zero diff. The power scale? Apologies, Your Honor, for enabling your outburst. What I need to direct the court's attention to was the fingerprints that were... Really not the chipping? I felt like the chipping was a fine answer, considering it's... Huh. Although I guess it would be like the both hands part? Like... What I meant to direct the court's attention to was the fingerprints that were found in the sword's handle. Fingerprints belonging to Sosuke's right hand. You're contradicting yourself, counselor. We've already discussed how it was your client's left hand that he broke closing off the elevator. There's nothing contradictory about him using his right arm to wield the blade. It can be like this because Sosuke has two hands! The people are correct. The sword found at the scene of the crime has my client's right hand fingerprints on its handle. Despite the fact that this witness just testified that Sosuke was swinging it with both hands. Yeah, I guess that would be the answer, but I don't know if this is a multiple answers thing or if I'm coping. You decide.
Like a graceful swatter, specifically.
Oh yeah, he did say that. So did the little type misremember?
just a second. It was a chaotic situation where he feared for his life. Court should hardly expect him to have kept track of such an inconsequential detail. Have you already forgotten my magnanimous powers of recollection? Tactics from earlier backfired. I'll have you know I can recite all my subordinates' birthdays down to the hour. Write them all down so I can calculate their moon signs later. Doesn't matter whether the witness is mistaken about Sosuke's grip, Your Honor. Because what we have is a much bigger issue to address. Why the sword has only my client's fingerprints on it? Makoto testifies that Sosuke wielded this katana in his defense. An act of bravery that ended with my client face down on the floor of Crane Tower. He later woke up, held captive in the lower wards. I'll state the obvious here and say while he was unconscious, he was moved. And so the sword we have in record must have also been handled by... our poor victim Creek, of course. That was nice. What do you mean? Sosuke was knocked unconscious at Crane Tower. That means someone else must have brought his sword down to the lower wards. And the only person who had the opportunity to do so would have been his captors. You mean his victims? Withdrawn. Yes, I know what means to withdraw. The defense is forgetting a fairly simple fact, Your Honor. There's more than one way to hold a sword. Oh! Worm? Did she mean to say word there? In case the defense needs it clarified, Free could have simply held the sword by its scabbard. No, that's not possible. That's not possible, Your Honor. Makoto's already testified that Sosuke left the sword scabbard with him when he thrust him back into the elevator. Yes. I see! And since the cursed sword can be resheathed until it's tasted blood! Yes, Your Honor. Very well said. We would have found the scabbard at the Blue Blood's Creek, then if Creek or his men had taken it with them. Instead, I imagine Makoto took it home. You think he took key evidence from his own assault and kept it from the police? Yes, actually, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Respect. You are so getting fined for this, buddy, but you're gonna have to do like community service now, but props. Props. That's all I can say. As if I would trust the officers of the law to properly handle a family heirloom as precious as your sheep. Impressive insight, Adonai. But what does this actually mean? If there's some mistake with how the evidence was handled. There's no mistake here. This is all done with intention. The intention to frame my client. By putting his fingerprints onto the sword after the real culprit already handled it. What a load of bullshit. And the crowd goes wild. Though it does make a certain kind of sense. Because the truth, I did wipe that katana's handle down after removing it from Trey's throat. Sosuke just happened to be fool enough to pick it up himself afterwards. It's frustrating having to keep all my best cards up my sleeve this time around. Look on Nemo's face when I do get to toss them out is... The people are more than ready to counter. If it pleases the Oh, this is a new track. Oh no.
Oh no! Oh. It seems like this is our theme? I wonder if this is like from... I wonder if they also commissioned this one. I know that they apparently commissioned like one track. Minako music? You said it, not me. It's very much giving that vibe though, yeah. The defense has made an admirable effort to barrel ahead with his theory. Admirable, but predictable. The Foundation this week, charging ahead and hoping the court won't notice is the only option. Let us speak of the facts. The Spree character led a targeted ambush on the House Ikaria, knowing he'd be guarded by a full security team. The Blue Bloods successfully sabotaged and intercepted Code's elevator at the precise floor they want them, meaning they knew exactly where he'd be and when. And they brought with them drugs capable of disabling a veteran with military-grade mods. Paying attention to detail may be foreign concepts of defense, but they should at least be able to recognize them. Was the defense seriously suggesting that after all that preparation, Creek's pod wouldn't bother to wear gloves? I'm glad you asked so nicely. Ah! 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 Take this? We don't need to speculate about whether it wore gloves or not. Not when we have Creek's fingerprints on a weapon recovered from the crime scene. That is a pretty good point, actually. Guess these guys were slopperier than we thought. Those blackguards were barefaced when they attacked us. Idiots. As if there wouldn't be repercussions for their actions. The least they could have done was disguise themselves. Strike that from the record, Your Honor. Along with any future comments that suggest that Ikaria would want revenge against these victims. I was only speaking in a plain truth. Creek was the leader, correct? Even Creek wasn't wearing gloves. It's hard to imagine that none of them got their prints onto Yoru. Unless the sword was, indeed, wiped down at some point afterwards. Like right around the time the true culprit was looking for Sosuke to take the fall. It's a spicy theory! It's just that, Your Honor. A theory. A far-fetched, unstable theory that stacks presuppositions upon each other. Like a flapjack chef substituting quantity for quality. What? Yeah. You're only getting that reference from MasterChef, girl. Stop. I'll rephrase. This inconsistency is easily answered without jumping through the defense's absurdly arranged tubes. That's a little better. We already know that the Blue Bloods had successfully taken down the Ikaria's head of security. And we already know that they went out of their way to take the defendant captive despite him not being their original target. Furthermore, as the defense belabored, we know that they decided to take a useless piece of steel with them from the scene of their crime. Useless? If we ask why, the answer is obvious. Because orcas are superstitious and immature. They wanted a trophy. And what is there to do with the trophy? Other than to polish it. Off from Creek's desk. I knew she flagged in the arc for some reason, but I thought this many steps ahead? The defense is correct. Sword was wiped down before Sosuke took it up as his murder weapon. But the very same victims he'd go on to claim with it. That is a completely logical explanation. Damn. How do we respond to that, Adonai? We check. We don't. I can't. It makes perfect sense.
So does that mean she described what actually happened?
Not at all. I wiped the sword off myself because my prints were on it.
Same as I wrote my prints off of every other.
Right. I can't find fault with Emma's conclusion. I need to find fault with the logic that led her there.
I see. And how do you do that?
By adjusting my aim. As people say, Your Honor, no one's fingerprints but my clients are on the murder weapon. That only makes sense if he's guilty. Or being framed.
And there's no evidence to suggest that he's been framed, because his captors had valid reasons for wiping off the sword.
That's true. They did have good reason to wipe off the sword. But that's not the murder weapon I'm referring to. I guess it would be then again, right?
The needle gun found at Crane Tower?
You'll notice that those prints aren't anywhere on it.
So what?
Business of using it to threaten people. That's what you're arguing. No, that's not the line of logic I wanted to use. Fuck. I don't know. This is we go to backlog here? I guess you'd be referring to the Magus, right? Like, this gun's the murder weapon I'm referring to.
What?
Alright. We broke even. I'll fucking take it. I was literally going off the logic that, like, you know, the needle gun was like their like own like crowning achievement. It fucking tagged the body.
The police are confident that this mag US gun is the gun that was used to kill tanks in Creek. And your client was arrested with it on his person. And it has your client's prints on it. But it was owned by tanks.
The record shows that Sosuke's are the only fingerprints on that doohickey. That makes this tank's guy never laid a finger on his own gun.
It's entirely possible the tank simply liked to polish his gun too.
Phrasing. Oh, you're so horny. Adjudicator, stop.
So he was polishing it right up until the moment his captor grabbed it and used it against him? More phrasing! Was it before or after his internal bleeding that my client took the gun off Tanks without even laying a finger on first? Before or after being tortured that he got the gun with no struggle? They could have wrestled over the gun while it was out of reach. Tanks had no injuries besides the hole in his chest. How'd he get into a struggle and not get so much to scratch? The likelihood of that scenario... Would seem to come down in order in which each individual died, no? Yes, Your Honor. Then perhaps you ought to hear some more detailed testimony about that. Of course. The defense has no more question for this witness, Your Honor. If you don't object. Hold on. What are you saying? Okie dokie then. Closing the connection. I said wait, you're so scared. Makoto seemed to be in good spirits. Wouldn't you say? Yeah, he was his usual irreproachable self. So how could you find something about that to be depressed over?
I'm ashamed that he testified at all. His appearance here runs the risk of sullying the house's visage with my mistakes.
I couldn't exactly slip the subpoena by claiming he had homework to do.
You of all people should understand that the house doesn't have to appear in court if it truly doesn't want to. A fine levied on your accounts is always preferable to a smudge staining your reputation.
But he did testify.
Yes. And he no doubt went directly against one or more family elders to do so. He should not be incurring debts for my sake.
He put himself at a disadvantage for you. Do you think Makoto would want you to apologize? Or do you think he'd want you to thank him?
He's young. He doesn't know what he wants yet. Bro's acting like he raised him.
Yeah! Oh my gosh.
You're so beautiful.
Yumi Sato, medical examiner. Yumi. Sarah! Dr. Sato, we're very grateful for your work sorting through the large number of reports related to this case. Likes brush metal, grilled fish. Me too. Cardamom? I don't know what that is. It's like flame interpolation. Me too. Split ends. I suppose. And surveys. Me too. Lurches on live show tickets. Put me in, coach. Favorite color? I love the cyanide green G. Alright. It's a bit too much. Yeah. High bodies, all high priority. Had my head underwater for a good while there. We prefer not to tax you with reading every grisly detail. But if you could, would you please walk the court through the time of death for each victim and the manner in which they were determined? Alright. From the top. Anchor-tan, aka Tanks. Had a mishmash of street legal and chop shop mods along with his forearms. None of them were particularly up to date, but they were all working, and they did monitor his heart rate. Tanks' heart stopped at 9:44 p.m. The cause of death was... The slug had a hollow design, intended to shatter inside the target. There's no mistaking that he was killed by his own gun. The Mag US, from a distance of 1 to 2 meters. Next up is Sungmin Tree Trench. He also had relatively low-end mods installed, and they show his heart stopping at 9:45 p.m. He died from exsanguination, blood loss resulting from a laceration across his neck by a sharp metal blade. That wasn't the only injury his body sustained, though, was it? No, it was not. Posthumously, his skull was... Heavens Miller Smiles received a puncture wound straight through his jugular vein. Then the blade was withdrawn, exacerbating blood loss, and he was likely unconscious within seconds of falling to the ground. Miller had mods, but had evidently gone to great lengths to remove all monitoring tech from them. He was not found with any electronics on his person. Using purely medical means, I narrowed his time of death down to a window of 10 minutes between 9:40 and 9:50 p.m. Even though I killed him third and he was the second to die. That brings us to Creed. Yes, like tanks. Lakers. How tall is he? How much is that? Let's see. $5'8". You could pass on like a low end team, but definitely not the Lakers though. The Lakers' Creed Kristoff was shot once with a hollow slug from a distance of 1 to 2 meters. However, the slug penetrated just beneath their solar plexus, failed to completely shatter when it impacted a low-end spinal brace mod. Not. I forget that they're a non-binary murder victim. Slayed. As a result, Creek didn't die immediately. It is my medical opinion that Creek would have slowly bled out over the course of about 5 minutes. Their mod did not have biomonitoring capabilities. So, like with Miller, I've done what I can to narrow down the time of death to a 10-minute window between 9:40 and 9:50. He was barely modded? And he stayed conscious that whole time anyway? But we do have one other contact clue to work with. The data pad was found very close to Creek's body, and technicians confirmed that it requires Creek's fingerprints for most functions. That means it's unlikely anyone else would have been able to manipulate it. And we found that the last action taken on it was an attempted dark card transaction that failed at 9:44 p.m. What could cause a dark card transaction to fail? Either they hit cancel or the card itself was jostled, interrupting the scan. As the datapad was suddenly dropped? Speculation? How much qualification does one need to understand that the card readers can be finicky, Your Honor? Shoot up! Chip, swipe, pin, tap! Just let me buy the damn balloon animal, you clown! So, taking that digital evidence into account? Creek must have been shot almost the exact same time as Tanks. Thank you. Faith. Thank you. There's one more body you examine for this case, yes? Officer Tarek Chopin. I didn't need to determine his time of death. As a police officer, he had a standard suite of police-issued biomonitors. So I know that Officer Chopin's heart stopped at 10:14:04 p.m. triggering an automatic 1099 alert. Officer down. Lighting up that crime scene like a firecracker and ensuring every cop in the street would come running, royally pissed and safety's off. Chopin was impaled through his back by a long, thin blade. It severed his aorta, and as a result, he died instantly. To summarize, then. We can conclude that Tank's gun was taken from him before 9:44 p.m. He and Creek were then shot with it. Their attacker, out of ammunition, took up a sword and stabbed Miller in the throat, before slicing into Trey's neck. This individual then proceeded to posthumously crush Trey's skull by striking it so hard that they shattered a baseball bat, as Creek bled to death on the other side of the room. Finally, when Officer Chopin entered the scene, they stabbed him in the back, but before finally being apprehended by Officer Rogers. That's all correct, as far as we understand it. So now we're awkward to put together a timeline. It's probably helpful for the jury, putting it all in chronological order. But have we actually learned anything new about the culprit's actions? We have. Emma brought her on the stand to establish the culprit's... We want to establish the starting time of all the murders. Wasn't that pretty obvious from just one autopsy? Tanks died first and his mouse confirmed it. Well, yes, but the fact that Tanks and Creek died first combined with their shooter stood tells us in what part of the room the culprit must have started their killing spree. Correct. Because Creek and Tanks died first, and they were both shot from within 1 to 2 centimeters. Sorry, within 1 or 2 meters. We know that the culprit must have started taking action right by the desk. And not by the door to the holding room. Indeed. So the likelihood that my client broke out from there is not very high at all. Yes? An abundance of DNA evidence establishes that the defendant was indeed held in the other room. But clearly, he didn't remain there. His captors must have taken him out to question him in the main room. And dragged him in front of the desk, where Tank's gun would be within reach. You're the one who's reaching. The evidence to the contrary? I would like to go up I would like to go up to testify, Emma. I killed them. A better explanation for how he got out of where he was being held? I suppose the real killers is to freeze a scapegoat. The phrases are clear. My client was gagged and bound in that room. But clearly they had to cut him down, but they clearly had to cut him loose to question him. A mistake that ended up costing them their lives. You think that's true, Sosuke? I'm not positive, of course. My body's telling me that I was held in that room from the time I woke up until I got myself free. This theory of the Blue Bloods being dumb enough to let Sosuke near a gun is imperfect. But still a theory. Not jack shit to counter with him, because not even Sosuke knows how I'd let him out. If the defense has no objections, then I'll just have to take this out and immediately move on to the cross-examination. Why not bring up the idea that, like, they would still have to, like, you know, like, what's the face? Like, Morgan, can you just bring up how, like, they would have to, like, gag him after every, like, session, or what? Adonai, that made you sound very feeble. You developed the habit of only using we when I'm winning. Fix it. That made us sound very feeble? Why do I have to get roped in? Well, you're the defendant, bro. Emma's already established a timeline of murder events. I could pick at the details, but she's close enough to the truth already. I know the truth firsthand, about everything except for Chopin. Case. Emma and I are on an even flooring. What's my advantage? But I know that everyone else is mistaken about.
This would be the murder weapons, no? Right, the murder weapons. Everyone thinks Miller was stabbed in the neck by the katana. I'm the one who knows my knife was there. Gotta be a way I can use that information to my advantage without revealing that I have it or how I got it. I'm walking to Razor's Edge here. At least thematically appropriate. The defense is ready to begin our cross-examination, Your Honor. Yes! Dr. Sato, you're asked to examine all 5 bodies. Did you visit the crime scene? I did not. Have not. Photos and other artist data were provided to me to aid in my examination. Surely the defense isn't objecting to a little virtual work. Of course not. After all, anything been added or removed from the crime scenes, the artist would have showed it. No fooling with. There's no fooling it once it's set up. Victims Trey and Miller were both attacked with a blade. Exactly how fast did they die? Trey had his throat slashed, and blood found in his hand suggested that he had time to reach up to his neck in response. But he would have quickly stumbled back and collapsed on the floor, dead. Miller wouldn't have lost much blood at the moment his neck was punctured. For that kind of wound, the weapon acts as a stopper. But once that stopper was removed, he would have lost consciousness in mere seconds, while the blade was still in his neck. If it was there for more than a second, he too would have reflexively reached up, presumably to try and grab the blade. I mean, we might as well. Is there any evidence that he tried to grab the razor sharp katana lodged into his neck? He had his own blood on his right hand, but there were no cuts on it, because he grabbed the knife's handle towards its edge. So it stands to reason that the blade was withdrawn very quickly. By the time his hands reached up to his neck, it must have been gone. What are many small inconsistencies katana theory I can shine a light on? Will that be enough? Oh. Stopping Miller's neck so precisely and so fast. Oh. That would be quite the feat of swordsmanship. Stating a conclusion, Your Honor. Comments withdrawn, quick as blade. Have you ever seen a stab wound like the one that killed Miller inflicted by a long blade, and wielded in one hand by a man experiencing heavy blood loss? No, I can't say that I have. Her smile. Now, whether that maneuver is impressive or improbable, well, I'm a doctor, not a fencer. Sophia doesn't own her rapier. Oh, that's a good question, actually. But I don't want to dig a hole. Where are the other autopsies? I guess we have to ask. This is a really good question, actually. Did you find the stab wound on the Miller's neck fit the sword that the police recovered? Approximately. That doesn't sound conclusive. The inch root is slightly smaller than I would expect for such a precise stab. The sword hand must have barely trembled, but it's within tolerable ranges. Furthermore, the DNA on the tip of the sword is a match for Miller. Because I happened to drag it across the blood where his... Just because I happened to drag it across where his blood had dripped. Oh man, that's so funny. And of course, there isn't any other implement at the scene that fits the wound better. No, of course there isn't.
Hmm. I guess we do good to shine a light on Chopin's wording of impaled rather than stabbed. Just speak a bit more about the manner of Officer Chopin's death. Well, to reiterate, his body was found with the katana stuck through his back. It had punctured his heart, killing him. There was massive blood loss at the scene. At least in part because the wound in question was agitated, I say. Like infection? Oh? I mean, even if we get it wrong, I really want to see what this means. What do you mean by agitated? Honestly, as though after impairment, the blade was moved around inside the wound. It had been stuck and someone was struggling to remove it. Yes! Blackjack! I think that's the first time I've done it like perfectly. I like always like go like too bold. Like the last case. Oh man, I am patting myself on the back. Linda mentioned that Sato found this wound odd, but to hear her specifically say the blade had become stuck. That's interesting. Noticing? Thank you, Dr. Sato. I think I can speak for us all when I say that I found that very enlightening. Dr. Sato, you just testified that Officer Chopin was impaled from behind. Did this occur on the spot where his body was found? Yes, it did. The body showed no signs of being moved. I'm curious then. What was there for the sword to get stuck on? Huh? Well, if Chopin was at the center of the room, standing upright, I mean, it wouldn't have gotten caught in the air, right? Bone, perhaps? Surely you examined the wound inside now. Did you see the marks on his ribcage where the blade had caught? No, I didn't. Then it stands to reason that the blade didn't get caught in anything inside Mr. Chopin. It got caught in the floor. Pardon? You need to take great advantage of the Arcs Council, Morgan. Learn to flip things on their head. Entire rooms if need be. If you had, you'd see that there's a clear indentation in the floor that lines up perfectly with Mr. Chopin's wound. How do you think the sword got chipped? You're saying the sword got stuck in the floor? That's what the facts are saying. Do you disagree? Especially the tip. Yeah, so if it's especially the tip, then... I don't necessarily disagree, no. If Chopin was impaled, then fell face first. Makes perfect sense for the sword to get caught in the floor as he collapsed on top of it. Okay, yeah. So we can conclude that after being impaled, Chopin fell over with the sword still in his torso, driving the sword into the ground. Then his attacker aggravated the wound by trying to retrieve his corpse. Does that sound right? What? Are you asking me? Sort of, asking the room, I guess. Well, I believe I can answer. What you're describing makes sense, Dr. Sato, but only up until we consider again the fingerprints on the sword handle. My client really did impale Terry Chopin to get his sword stuck doing so. Why would he try to retrieve it with only one hand? Because he had to retrieve it with one hand. You yourself already educated, or already elucidated that the defendant's left hand was broken when he destroyed the elevator panel in the control in the crane tower. His left hand was too damaged for him to even grip a sword? That doesn't square with this piece of evidence. Hmm.
The Magus? How can my client's left hand be too damaged to grip a sword? And also capable of gripping the Magus? That oddity is hardly impossible to explain. We've already determined that the Magus was fired twice before the sword was used at all. Firing such a weapon with a broken hand surely rendered his left useless. It's difficult to wield a sword with a damaged hand, isn't it, Sosuke?
Historically, even the loss of a pinky on your non-dominant hand was considered enough to render you relatively defenseless.
Is that why Yakuza would have to cut off fingers as recompense for their offenses?
And that's right, too. In fact,
The chatter to save the history lesson.
he had to pull the sword loose with one hand because his left was useless. Looking at the forensics pulled for the katana, that's... Your Honor, the people claim that my client had to use one hand to retrieve the sword because his other hand was disabled. Does the evidence actually suggest that with the hand positioning? What do you mean? Forensics performed the katana found its culprit's right hand fingerprints on the handle. What grip are the... Yes! Thank you, Morgan. But what grip are the prints on match for? I'm just giving a quick think here as I meticulously analyze the position of each finger. A normal grip. The grip is normal. You mean to say that the thumb is facing towards the blade, Your Honor? Well, yeah, but isn't he saying he held it like normal? If my client only held the sword with his right hand normally, Your Honor, that would mean he held the handle that even as he tried to jostle the blade free from the floor was impaled in. Which is far from impossible. But if, Your Honor, the court has questions about how exactly the defendant was positioned when he was found standing above Officer Chopin's corpse, I believe the people's next witness will be able to answer all of them. I can only smile in the face off with the arresting officer. Chopin's partner. Very well. The man is summoned to the stand. Null name not found.
What?
What?
Is that a family or given? What?
Yeah. Got one big old error right here. It's classic. Witness not found. Literally. Can't hear.
What? He's had hours to get here. What the hell could he possibly be? Our star witness is a no-show? Is this good news or bad news? Like hitting the jackpot in the world's sketchiest slot machine. Feels good, but you get the feeling that the staff is gonna make you pay for it. That's idiotic. Pay for it when? Fine. I'll finish for myself. Right about now. Perhaps it's for the best then, Your Honor. We can save the court the trouble by wrapping things up here and now. The facts are simple. The defense has failed to refute them. Thus the people can call for summary judgment. Already? The defendant is the only one with a print on the gun. He is the only one with prints on the katana. His own employer testified to his court that he was attacked and captured by 4 to 5 victims. He was found and arrested standing over the body of a dead cop. Or 2 more officers arrived and secured the scene. That must be Ray's in London she's referring to. As the only living person left at the scene of the crime, there was no one else who would have committed the murders. She's not a terror, and I'd be lying if I said it wasn't entertaining. But it's only because she's on tilt. She was thrown out by the witness flaking and it's caused her to overstep. Just fired off a lot of claims of quick succession. Which is the weakest one? I counterattack.
That's true, that's true. I guess that's true. Just know that Sosuke is the only one who could have committed these murders. Can't possibly prove that. Yes! She can't prove that there wasn't anyone else there that night because I actually was. And unlike her, I can prove the possibility of another party being present without having to reveal their identity.
The people are mistaken, Your Honor. My client wasn't the only other person there that night. The dark card? And there's evidence to show it. Just a white prince? Yeah. What is that? The dark card found lost in Greek state datapad? That's right. Oh my god, don't bait me like that. Why didn't it do the animation? Why didn't you do the animation? Why did you scare me like that, game? That's right. The perfect payment option when neither you nor the businesses you frequent like attaching names to faces. We've already discussed that within moments of Creek's death, the transaction was being attempted on his datapad. A transaction made using this dark card. Whatever for. Perhaps some of the handful of illicit substances that were found at the scene of the crime. Oh crap! Yeah! Almost forgot! These guys were drug dealers! And drug dealers get customers, Your Honor. Customers that can be very temperamental when things go south. Are trying to suggest these killings were the result of a drug deal gone wrong? I mean, they sort of were. A drug deal being made in person at a blue blood stronghold? Dark cards require a passkey and a fingerprint. The card would be used as if its owner wasn't physically present for the transaction. A transaction that might be abruptly cancelled if tensions boiled over. A potential buyer would likely have been across the desk from Creek. The same spot in the room that we established that the killer must have started their rampage. Cute idea, counselor, but there's no meat to it. We know that Creek was using that datapad before he died. And we know that the dark card was processing a transaction at the time. But for some reason, you made the assumption that he was selling. And the simplest explanation that he was buying. Using the dark card that he owned. The dark card belonged to Creek? How will you respond? I don't need to respond with evidence. I just need to point out the flawed evidence he's constructed our argument upon. Do you really think the datapad at the time of the scene really belonged to Creek? Yeah, well... Yes. That face! Oh, Moe? Yeah, this is... Fair enough. Okay, so I thought it was gonna be the sense of like Creek's datapad owns this, but oh, is this the most evil answer you can think of? Characterization, Your Honor. The people are claiming that the dark card in the evidence record belonged to the victim, Creek. Despite the fact that it has no fingerprints on it either. Oh, new track. What? If that dark part belonged to the Creek. Sorry, belonged to Creek. It would have been inserted into his datapad with his teeth. Yuck! But who did the dark part belong to?
Perhaps a customer who didn't like his prices. A disgruntled customer could have wiped their prints off the card to hide the fact that they were ever there. That's absurd. If a customer brought that dark card with them to the crime scene, why the hell wouldn't they take it with them when they left? It was stuck in the datapad. They could have pulled a little harder. They could have taken the datapad with them. Who would leave behind something that valuable? The card is worthless to everyone but its owner. I feel it could be priceless. Why would they choose to leave behind? It's either simple, if I'm honest. We're discussing the possibility of a deal gone south. What could cause that in the first place? Aggressive negotiation tactics. Or a customer who couldn't pay. What do you... This customer could afford a dark card. And yet they couldn't pay. Hold on, you're trying to say all these deaths, all this carnage. I think it's all because their card got declined? In fairness, Emma. That's what I do sometimes, okay? It's not a good feeling having it declined. Hard to live down that kind of faux pas. Murdering 4 or 5 people in order to skip paying your bill is pretty aggressive, but if you need your fix. Was there any indication that contraband was taken from the scene of the crime? Your Honor, that is difficult to say. Without knowing their inventory before the crime occurred, we cannot rule out the possibility. That was a little lackluster of a pushback. Is she really that thrown out by this witness playing hooky? Well, I hate to do this because I love spending time with you all and having a physical body and being in soul. But it does seem like I have to declare a recess while we wait. Perfectly reasonable, Your Honor. That's the most romantic thing I've ever heard! What? What is that? What a hopeless romantic this AI is. So, Aurelia Holdings is not part of House Ikaria.
No, it is. House Ikaria is compromised of the literal Ikaria family, the Ikaria financial group in Aurelia Holdings. But each of those parts is a separate identity from the others.
That is very confusing.
No, it's... Well, yes, it can be confusing, but it protects us.
Protects the IFG.
No, protect the house. From itself.
If everyone in the Ikaria family was a member of the IFG and the IFG was called the Ikaria family, that would be much simpler.
I know it would be simpler, but that's... Oh. Whoops.
Who the hell is this guy to keep Ralph waiting?
You're just your question to me? I've never met the man.
Well, he's met you.
Smacked you upside the head and cuffed you. If you say so. I told you, I don't remember anything after I walked out of that holding room. Chime in anytime.
Apologies, Adonai. I was just trying to answer your question. Who the hell is Officer Rogers?
Find a social or something?
I found a news story attached to a live feed. He's shaking hands with some men at the top of some stairs.
Right now?
What's the headline? City council members thank heroic officer for his service.
Oh, well, that makes sense. How can it? Emma's outranked. If the politicians decided now is the time to do photo ops, he doesn't have the pull to go against them. Are Officer Chopin's parents there?
Yes. Both of his fathers were present.
Adoptive fathers. Are you trying to make me feel better? Adoptive or not, they are his parents, and their plan is real.
Of course. But that pain would be equally real if they weren't expressing it in front of those cameras, don't you think?
If you're feeling guilty, Sosuke, please get out of your system before the trial resumes. I don't feel guilty. Even if I did kill that officer, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. That doesn't make it right.
Taking a life.
Parents have to outlive their children. And here, I thought you'd be all about filial piety. Like piety. Tell me you wouldn't take a bullet for your patriarch, Daisuke? Of course I would. He's younger than me. And force him to outlive his son? How could you? Adopted son. From a branch family. Do I need to point out how badly you're contradicting yourself? Daisuke Ikudia could have let me waste away when the rest of the Hayakawa branch was killed. Instead, he placed me at the right hand of power. A seat of honor.
A subservient seat.
All seats are subservient.
Not the one at the top. I didn't know the rest of your birth family died, Sosuke.
Retaliation for the fall of the leaves. Quite the dignified way to refer to Korea killing all those blue bloods 30 years ago. Anyway, it was my understanding that was a complete and total victory. The kind that left the blue bloods incapable of counterattacking. Very nearly so.
You disapprove of what happened 30 years ago, Sosuke.
Of course not. The barbarity the house's enemies left it with no other choice but to act. No way out, huh? By the way, I was asked to pass along a message to you. If you're given a way out, take it. Who told you that? She said her name was Mira. Who is she? A powerful member of the house. On the side of Aria. Slow down, loose lips. I didn't ask for her whole life story. Oh, sarcasm. I'm just surprised. Surprised that you would take a personal interest in the outcome of this affair. Would that message be anything to you? I'm not sure. You're a terrifically helpful client, you know that? There's something you should know about me, Morgan. About the Hound of Ikudia. I didn't earn that title as a bodyguard or head of security. And I didn't learn how to kill in the military. The Hound of Ikudia is the house's personal assassin.
What happened to the House of Ikudia being refined? Elevated above their criminal past?
The house is elevated. That status has granted more enemies than ever. Enemies that need to be taken out silently, but undeniably.
Undeniably.
What I do is send messages. They need to be received by the right people, and they need to know who it's from.
You killed so that the other houses in the nobility know it was the Hound?
But can't prove that the House Ikuria was responsible. Their own pride over being able to handle things internally and their humiliation at being outplayed ensures the deaths stay out of the papers.
So the entire police force can send on a jaywalker caught by reflection off of a dash cam. But the new ability gets to wave off a surveillance state with a perfumed handkerchief, flaunting how the rules don't apply to them.
Like I thought, a very pure expression of power. So all that talk of you being Makoto's head of security, that was all true. I am. I have been Makoto's head of security for the past year. Superior business dry up? The circumstances around Makoto had changed. I was asked to step in and fill the role. And what you said about guarding the previous heir? Waving your katana around so you could walk? The circumstances were different then too.
Why tell me now?
Because now that I've seen her, I don't think Rockford will have missed it. No, why didn't you tell me yesterday, the first time we met? But I could have actually prepared for this. Clearly you've got some deeply held desire to rot in prison, since you won't help me win this case. But what happened in the last 5 minutes that you've suddenly got cold feet?
Adonai.
Yesterday, I thought you were just some outsider in over their head, who would surely drown if they knew who they were defending. Hey, I think you're an outsider, in over their head, who could stay afloat with a lifeline.
Thanks for the heads up.
5 minutes notice really comes in handy when your client asks you to catch a bullet. Excuse me. I made her sound so angry that... I'm sorry to disappoint you too, Sarah. I can't imagine you're pleased to be defending a self-confessed killer.
I don't know what you went through when you were a soldier. I have no idea what you've gone through as an assassin. Yesterday, Adonai suggested I shouldn't speak about those kind of things, since I have no experience with them. I don't know if she's right about that. But soldiers and assassins do exist in this world. And they are still people. And I think I would be sad if I couldn't talk to any of them.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant that, like, very differently there for a second.
On a related note, could you catch a bullet, Sosuke Ikuria?
No, Sarah.
But you're a cybernetically enhanced martial artist.
Bullets are very fast.
That is true.
I could probably catch an arrow if I knew it was coming.
Tell me more.
Oh, this guy is such a troll.
So you and your partner were the second officers who arrived on the scene?
That's correct, ma'am. When the 10-999 went out, my partner and I were relatively center city. We were jogging distance of the site, after an elevator ride, so we proceeded on foot.
Roger still hasn't shown.
Emma must have rushed on to adjust to the reshuffled docket. Imagine if this was like cop-on-cop violence, just...
I assume he was rushed. He does seem somewhat distracted.
We arrived at the premises at 10:21 p.m. At 10:27 p.m., we assisted Officer Rogers in completing his arrest of the suspect.
What did that involve? Reading rights to an unconscious man?
That's a good bit. We helped Rogers finish cuffing the suspect, is what I meant. His hands were shaking.
Your witness, counselor?
Excuse me, we're already at 21? Morgan? What are we doing here?
I'd like to ask London why he wasn't explicit about all this yesterday. Complaining about the detective not being forthcoming with the defense isn't exactly winning strategy. Oh,
Okay. I thought we were like going for anti-blackjack for a second there.
He didn't hesitate to show me his involvement with the mafia yesterday. What's he got left to hide? Dumb question, detective, but did you have your body cameras on?
Officers aren't required to turn on body cameras when responding to an emergency, counselor. Detectives aren't required to wear body cameras at all.
Like I said, dumb question. But by any chance, did your partner have a body camera going? Perhaps I have a characteristic abundance of respect for the rules.
Matter of fact, I believe she did.
So the first four of our city's brave policemen to arrive at this crime, only one of them thought to turn their body cam on?
It's my understanding that Rogers couldn't turn his on, as it was broken earlier in the week.
And Tarek Chopin?
I don't know why he didn't have his on.
Does Emma know? Does Officer Rogers? Why were you and your partner in Central City that night, detective?
Well, to be honest, I hadn't eaten dinner yet, and I was really in the mood for some kind of hot soup, you know? I get you too, London. I get you too. And my partner was kind enough to indulge me on taking a drive.
That's all he gonna say? I can call him a compromised witness just because he was in the area, but what the hell is there even to press when his answer's that simple? I'm almost tempted to...
Chat? Chat? I'm doing it. I don't give a fuck.
Was the soup any good, detective?
I never got an Indian. Had this hole-in-the-wall place in mind, but when we got there, I know that they got out of business last month. It had been a while since I last stopped by. I guess I always knew they weren't that successful, but I thought... Honestly, I thought it'd lose some of its charm if it got popular. Maybe if I hadn't been so selfish, they'd be still here. I'll never know how much you'll miss that 7 out of 10 restaurant until it's gone, you know? I know what you mean, London. I know what you mean. Oh my god, I love London so much. Yeah. Your honor, relevance. Not relevant, but it is poignant and deeply human. I'll allow it. Or I will punish it at least. I'll ask a real question. Right away, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you, 80. Thank you, 80. Thank you, 80. I love you so much. I love you so much. So much.
And how did you and your partner go about clearing the building?
I took point and my partner covered me, checking the rooms behind us as we went. It was tense, searching the rooms without racket blaring from upstairs.
We're still searching for suspects even though there was 1099 on the floor?
Wise already reported the manner of his partner's death, Counselor. We weren't going to run upstairs to try and defibrillate.
How's that report made?
Over comms, around 10:17 p.m.
Is it common practice from one another to... Is it common practice to separate from one another when responding to a 10999?
It's one of several valid approaches the department advises in critical scenarios. I like the facial expression there. You ever lose sight of your partner? I might have.
But you might have lost sight of you. Speculation, Your Honor. If I can't see you, you can't see me. That's not speculation, Your Honor. Just grade school logic.
Overruled. Spill the deeds, witness. Yes. Me and my partner were separated as we cleared the building. For more than a minute, I'd say.
Interesting. Thank you for giving us all that info to chew on, Detective London.
Come on, give me a break. I was trying to be helpful.
No, I mean it.
That was a really fun sequence. If somehow the devs are listening, thank you for not making that suppress like a penalty at all.
I'm especially interested to hear you describe how my client was unconscious and helpless by the time he first appeared on any body cam. Shall we review that footage together? I wonder if we can pinpoint exactly how many wounds he received in between his arrest and when his mugshot was taken. Redirect, Your Honor.
Really? What is she doing now?
Prosecution called Detective London as their witness and asked their questions. Out and I just had the chance to ask her own questions during the cross-examination. After the cross-examination, the people can redirect if they have additional questions for the witness.
So it isn't just one for them and one for us?
More like an eye for an eye.
For an eye until justice is blind and bloody.
What's another round? Why?
Just stalling?
Detective London, are you aware of an ongoing police investigation for a figure known as the Hound of Ikaria? Not stalling. Approach, Your Honor.
Wait, do I finally get to say the line? Oh, hold on. This is happening too fast. Okay. Oh ho! So you're a prander here.
This Hound of Ikaria is obviously some kind of case file that the Organized Crimes Department is working on. Detective London isn't qualified to speak on it.
Homicide, organized crimes. There's that big a difference.
Depends on the career of the witness in question. Detective London, for example, spent 6 years in the Organized Crimes Unit. He what? Didn't know that? Where are you taking this, Emma?
Oh,
hate to admit it, but I think it needs spoilers as well. If you ask him about this, what's he gonna say?
But the Hound of Bigotry is an assassin who leaves calling cards to each of his kills. Terrorists in the house perceive enemies without shame. And that the lead suspect in those cases is a man around Sosuke's age and height. With gray blue hair, a mod spine, and a large tattoo of a dog across his back. Sosuke, you vain son of a bitch. You got made with your shirt off?
So mad.
Ah, shit! Bless you.
You cannot let the jury hear that, Your Honor.
But I really want to.
If organized crime wanted to arrest Sosuke, they should have done so already. He's on trial here today for these 5 counts and nothing else. The defense has once again claimed that their client is merely some veteran who's been victimized by greater forces. But the police believe that he's in fact the deadliest soldier the Ikari have at their disposal. That's not relevant. No, it's prejudicial as hell.
Well, girls fighting. But obeying the legal precedents. But the tension, the human drama.
They'll just be giving a summary. The case file won't enter the record. So you won't even give me the chance to object to the evidence? Your Honor, if you do this, the jury will be spoiled within seconds. And how my client served up a mistrial before the day's through.
And some other grand jury will get to have all the rest of the fun. I said with the jury's feet for the time being. I'll let you hear exactly what the witness has to say before ruling out this testimony's inclusion.
But Your Honor, the gallery.
It's not your concern, nor a concern of justice. This trial will remain open to the public until such a time as I or the state feel it shouldn't be. Decision made.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What just happened?
The jury's gonna take a bathroom break. Emma will get to ask her questions, but in all likelihood, the judge will make sure they never hear the answers. So we aren't any worse off? Sosuke might be. What do you mean? This gallery's filled to the brim with cops. They all think he killed Chopin. Phone number gills us all with details of Hound's exploits on top of that. Don't worry, Sosuke. They can't do anything to you here.
Because we're in a courtroom. I won't spend the rest of my life in this room, Sarah. And even if I could, I wouldn't. Yeah, you're just gonna be spending time in a jail cell, in the police station, in police HQ.
Detective London, if you would, please specify as the
Oh, for real?
honor.
What now?
Hey, Rockford. That witness guy who flaked on you. Made you look dumb?
Yes?
He's finally here.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no more questions for the witness at this time.
Really? But I...
Just edge for nothing.
Oh, man.
The redirect fizzles out. Counselor, do you want to step it up?
No, Your Honor.
Dang, Detective London. Nobody wants to talk to your ass. I do. I want to go out and eat some grub with him.
Miss Rockford, let it go. She doesn't hold back anything in the courtroom, but only because that's what gives her the greatest chance of victory. If the jury wouldn't hear it either way, and she has no need to stall for time, she wouldn't stoke the coals for the fun of it.
Poor London.
Just like the city he's named after. Miserable.
Just feeling miserable right now. Check up on your boy, Reyes. He's really in the dumps right now.
So if you hadn't fought against that redirect up to the very last moment...
Well, it caught, huh?
Yeah. Nothing impressive about putting my arm between gun and my... heart? I was gonna say stomach. The analogy seems weaker somehow. There he is.
I wonder what he looks like. Chud? Chopped? Or thumb? The man of the hour. The hero who put a stop to the Hound of Ikaria and brought justice in the city over the loss of its favorite son, Tariq Chopin. You are so chopped. What is this? What the fuck? Are you even wearing that earpiece right, bro? Patrol Officer Rogers, reporting for duty. Don't have to say that. Sorry then, just reporting for duty. Name and occupation. Patrol Officer Huey Rogers. Occupation, Patrol Officer. This is... I hate that this is somehow a Canadian rep. This is the most Canadian man I've ever seen so far in this story. Like, he just looks tired. Like saltwater, rosemary, graffiti art, just like sand, marshmallows, and the lottery. Wakes up at 5:30. Oh, the fuck, man. Can't stand mice. Balance easily ups. Oh, you're such a chud. Former partner Tariq Chopin. Apologies for earlier. It's fine. The court understands that the city council had need of you. But when I said my name wrong, that won't happen again. And your tardiness? What's that? Being hours late to this trial? Why not set a reminder? Oh, that's embarrassing.
Does seeing him here in the flesh jog your memory at all?
No, not at all. This guy would be pretty hard to forget. Yeah, with this fucking mutton chops. Fucking J-Schlatt over here.
He must have sustained quite the concussion then.
As an appetizer. When I saw he's lucky nothing important leaked out of his ears.
Shall we begin, Officer Rogers?
Right. From where?
The start?
Oh. Well, those are pretty boring. I mean, normal nights. Me and Chopin were just driving our route, windows down. I was always getting car skipped the windows weren't down. At around 9:45 or so, my partner heard shots fired. So off we went.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, shots echo down the lower wards, so I wasn't too sure about the direction. But my partner was confident that it would have something to do with blue bloods. That area is a known hotspot. As we neared the street, we saw people slinking away from it. We got the message. Who can sense that kind of trouble, even when they don't know it? Something bad had gone down and no one wanted to do anything with it. Front door wouldn't budge. I peeked around into the alley, but the fire escape was out of commission. Then my partner shot clean through the door handle. Chopin was that determined to get inside based on some echo gunshots? Like who? That is suspicious. I suppose context was most of what I used to find the place too. But... So when you arrived, the only way into the building was locked? Yeah, and so we had a strong reason to believe that the shooter was still in the vicinity. I was in favor of waiting for backup at this point, but my partner, he was convinced that the place was dead empty already. It was moving a good bit faster than me, right up until we got to the second floor and heard a loud slam.
A slam? What kind of slam?
Like slam?
Or like salam?
Or like slam? I don't know. It was loud though. Chopin gets all deadly serious and insists I say he goes ahead. I say he goes ahead. Up to the third floor. After a bit, he yelled down to me, saying everyone was dead and I should come join him. That's when I heard another heavy thud. I didn't know it was the sound of my partner's body hitting the floor. But I put two and two together when I saw that man there standing over him. Let the record show that the witness has finally identified the defendant.
If you heard a noise at the crime scene, the natural conclusion would be that you were not alone. But if Chopin thought they weren't alone, why would he insist on splitting up? That's it. Chopin was the one to split up so that they could cut off possible routes of escape. Perhaps I can shed some light on the officer's actions. With more speculation? With some helpful theorizing. Capped off with hard evidence. Officer Chopin explicitly told his partner to stay behind. And the only reason he'd do that is if he thought it would let them catch an escaping suspect. Why would he think the suspect was escaping if he heard a noise upstairs? He wouldn't. He'd only think a suspect was escaping if the noise he heard was. I imagine it would be the dumpster. Yeah, okay. A noise that came from the alley? What kind of noise would that be? A noise like the one I was treated to when Detective London clumsily shut the dumpster out there. Hey now, I love my ears ringing too, you know. What are you even talking about? I'm talking about an exit plan. In other words, how the real culprit managed to flee the scene. How does a dumpster lid relate to some imaginary suspect's great escape? 1963, 172. Stop. The only way to get from the third floor to the street without going past the two cops clearing the building would be by going down the fire escape and into the alley. A fire escape that's broken. So no one could climb up it, but anyone could jump from it onto the dumpster below. Oh yeah! I can kind of see it. That must be a dead pixel you're seeing, Your Honor. Were there boot prints on top of the dumpster? A dent in the lid? Well, that's... No? Of course not. There's no proof. No reason at all to think that anyone jumped down onto it. And no reason for us to entertain this train of thought. That's... got nothing. If there had been damage to the dumpster, I could never prove it was caused by a fleeing culprit. Adonai. I'm thinking. I know. But this might not possibly be the time for you to stop thinking. And instead, flip the go board, like you've told me to do before. You're horribly misquoting me. But, Emma says there's no proof that anyone fled the crime scene. But if there was proof of that, what would it look like? That someone was in that room when the police first arrived, but not there when the police got to the third floor. So I'd have to think the fire escape if Roach never saw them. Couldn't have taken the fire escape that first opening the window. It's been bothering me since yesterday. I was sure those windows were closed when I left. Been open ever since the scene was secured. Can't testify to that. One time I know the truth and I want to get it out. I can't admit it without screwing myself over. Adonai, any luck? Pardon the interruption, Your Honor. I have no objections at this time. I mean, you could talk about the window. Like the window itself, no? Like... Because it seems like incomplete. Like the blood splatters in comparison to like the way Creek died. Then the witness may continue? Oh, please do. But rewind a bit first if you could, since we got off topic. And don't spare any detail. Tell the court exactly what you saw, felt, and heard that night. Of course. The witness is a trained officer of our city's prestigious police force. He'll gladly recount every minute for us. Line by line. Like, every detail? Especially the irrelevant ones. Sir, yes, sir. I did get a little in my head just now. Better listen through this whole testimony at least once before I start looking for holes. A quiet night, but then my partner heard gunshot. Oh, we can't even call. We headed for the nearest known Orca hotspot and arrived by the building dead quiet. Door was locked. We checked the alley, but didn't see another way in. The Tobin shot off the lock through the handle, and we entered. Followed by some kind of loud music up the stairs, and there was a slam, and my partner bolted upstairs. About a minute later, I heard a thud from upstairs and came running. Found the defendant standing over my partner's dead body. Something stand out to you, Adonai? Yeah, my ears pricked up a bit. The saying is perked up, is it not? Let me focus. But then my partner heard a gunshot. No, that couldn't be it. Yeah. What? How could you ever find the place dead quiet? And there was a sound system blaring on the top floor. The witness must have not heard the sound system. This is a noisy city. Even the lower wards, But he did hear the music. He described it as his testimony just now. Yeah. So the building was dead quiet when you were outside, but you could hear the music from the first floor? Well, yeah. I heard the music pretty much as soon as we stepped inside. Only after you stepped inside? Yeah? Sturdy door, I guess. Your Honor, the witness established that the front door was very secure and tightly locked. There's nothing strange about it blocking out some amount of sound. But the window... But it blocked out, like, all the sound. Once the door was open, the music was booming. The scene of the crime was a known blue blood property, yes? Property. My stutters get really bad, man. A safe and apartment complex of sorts, as I understand it. They must have made a number of modifications to the premises. That front door certainly looked like a newish addition. Maybe they redid the windows too. I don't get it. I don't mind sitting at playing the honor. That building has been thoroughly... That building has been thoroughly soundproofed, Your Honor. You think the building was soundproofed? I know it was. I experienced it myself, stepping out of the lower wards in its dingy nightclub vibe. That would explain what the witness experienced, wouldn't it? Perhaps, but that wouldn't explain the building being dead quiet when they arrived. Not unless the window next to the sound system was closed. Throw my hand a bit there. She knows what I'm gunning for. Counselor, asking the court to accept that building happened to be soundproofed is not the flawless argument you're making it out to be. The window in question opens to the alley. Vargas could have easily missed the noise coming out of it. Even though he already testified that he checked the alley before his partner shot the door open? He might have merely neglected to mention that he heard the music at the time. Huh? Music in the alley? I would have heard that. I would have noticed that kind of thing, right? Pass on the uptake, this one. I'm looking at this art from every angle I can. Any cubes are what mine's way. As fast as my program will allow. And I'm still seeing a crime scene where the windows are open. What am I doing wrong? There's a trick to it. Try focusing on a single cube first, once you've got one spinning consistently. Yes, Your Honor. The windows were found open. It's a contradiction. The windows were closed when the officers arrived, but opened by the time Rogers got to the third floor. That means someone must have opened them. So someone not currently on trial, Your Honor. Should stretch before attempting mental gymnastics that intense, Counselor. Yeah, so is she gonna go with the idea that Chopin opened the door? Sorry, not through the window? You claimed that the windows were originally closed. It only opened at the last moment as some mystery individual fled down into the alley. But we know Creek was standing in front of those windows when he was shot. And we can see where his blood landed, on the sides of the windows that faces the room when open. If you claim the windows were closed when he was shot, blood somehow ended up on the wrong side of the glass. Your theory is flawed. A far-flung fantasy with nothing other than Officer Rogers' poor hearing to support it. All the actual evidence shows that at the time of the murders, the windows were found exactly as we found them, flung open. Logical faulty, I can't overturn it with any given piece of evidence. I can point out the flaw in how she's presented her evidence. Thank you for the advice about taking full advantage of arcs, by the way. But trust me, there are some things that are best understood by visiting the crime scene in person. What? Helps keep you from getting flipped around. What exactly am I pointing out here, I wonder? What do you want me to point out? I think that could be it. I'm doing it. Oh, Miss Rockford, do you really think that was just a dumpster? What else would it be? Hiding? Stop psychoanalyzing that for you. How kind. That wasn't where I wanted it to go, Morgan. No, that's not what I... Yeah, no, that was dumb of me. My bad, my bad. What makes you so certain the police found these windows open? Oh, I'm losing so much here. Apologies, Your Honor. I'm just confused. Why is Miss Rocker talking about those windows? As if they swing open. What are you talking about? Those windows don't swing into the room. They're pulled to the side. They... What? Wait. Oh my god, they do. Fired this architect, bro. I hate you. Do you see the fingerprints that they found in the house? One look at that should tell you which side the glass faces indoors. Funny, wasn't that in the arcs? Ooh, this is a very chic interior design I'm seeing. Very wabi-sabi. So if the windows only side parallel to the walls, it wouldn't matter whether they were open or shut when Creek was shot. The blood would always end up on the same side. Hey! I said I finally got the windows lined up right in the arcs! You didn't say that. At least, not aloud. Thank you for always listening, Sarah. But I said it just now, so whatever. What do you mean lined up? The blood splatter. Looks a lot nicer now, doesn't it? Yes. Thank you, Your Honor. That is so inappropriate for an adjutant to do. It's gotten us all on the same page. We can all reasonably conclude that the windows were closed when Creek was shot, at the very least. Yes. The one they were next opened is... something you'll fight over, I'm sure. Now, this ARC said it could just tell me whether the windows were actually soundproof. I doubt the ARCs could simulate that accurately for you, Your Honor. But if we examine the crime scene for that specifically, it should be simple enough to... waste the court's time? Forgive me for repeating myself, Your Honor, but even if we prove, conclusively, that the windows were soundproof, the defense's argument still hinges entirely on the omission of one detail in the witness's testimony. Putting it another way, just because he didn't hear the music, that doesn't mean he couldn't hear the music because the soundproof windows were closed. The devil's proof. Oh no! Son, the mostly love movie knuckle references. Okay. Yes, and actually used to right this time. I did my reading. She has love, therefore she can read it. She's effectively conceded that the windows were soundproof. She's altered the tactics, and it's a formation I don't recognize. As to be expected, I'm no general. I don't need Makoto here to tell me that war is deception. How about a little misdirection? Listen up, Sarah. The important thing about the devil's proof is that it's always on our side. The side of the underdogs, lovers, and dreamers the world around. The side of the defense, innocent until proven guilty. That's what makes the devil so infuriating for the prosecution. People make a fair point, Your Honor. There really isn't any hard evidence for my fleeing suspect theory at the moment. But the people haven't disproven it either, have they? I forget the exact details, Your Honor, but all we need is a shadow of a doubt, right? To overturn 5 dead bodies? The testimonies of 3 cops? And a room soaked to the floorboards in forensic evidence? Yeah? Finu. Finu? What is that? Oh. Yeah, Fury? In Chinese? No, it's fine. I just didn't expect it to be Chinese, that's all. Have you lost your mind? Are you trying to piss off everyone here? Yes. Come on. You don't hate my theory that much, do you? I'm warming up to it. Then I'll stick to the facts for now. At the time Rogers and Chopin arrived, the front door was locked. The music was still playing at the scene of the crime. even if Rogers didn't notice it until stepping inside. And at the moment Creek was shot, at least, we can be certain that the soundproof windows behind him were closed. Yes, those are the facts. Why are you restating them? Because there's something that's been bothering me. If we accept these as facts, one part of the Honorable Officer Rogers' testimony makes no sense. How could these two officers have set off in response to the sound of gunshots?
Well, as long as like, it's the straight equivalent. Yeah, I love this so much.
If the room was deafened at the time the gun was fired. Now you go there? Oh crap! Yeah! Wait, excuse me? What are you talking about? I really hope that they like get like more tracks for the for like the other stuff that they've been using as stock. Not say that these type of tracks are bad, but I want them to like be more focused for what they're trying to envision. Although I say that, yet yeah, look at what your PC does for Sicodia Phase 1, man. He still uses stock sound effects. sorry, not like stock sound effects, but like it's like stock music. It's the very first thing you told us, officer. The partner heard gunshots. But how is that possible? But that's... But he said it. He said it. Even on the radio he called it in. Trudeau, I can see it right here in the police network's database. 9:45 p.m. Officer Terry Chopin reports shots fired. Is this gonna somehow go back to the gun tag? No, right? No. So he did. And since we can't ask him to testify, let's not take him at his word. But just to clarify, Officer Rogers, are you saying you never heard any gunshots yourself? Well, I didn't have my head out the window like him, so that's what you're trained to do, isn't it? Or anything you see or hear across the network? Well, unreported is usually sufficient. A confirmation is always ideal, right? Yes or no, Officer Rogers? I never heard any gunshots. Hang on, are you really... So you never heard a perp. So you never heard a peep. But your partner, he somehow managed to waltz you both over to exactly where four vicious murders have been committed? Before anyone else got there. I just drove where he pointed, so... Counselor, you need to be very careful here. Thank you for your concern, Miss Rockford. But don't forget, I hate losing. Pardon? I said, but don't forget to direct your comment to the bench. Alright. You bring that up now? Every cop in the room already thinks I'm a mob lawyer at this point. Compared to that, logging the memory of the deceased is small time. I feel like you to say something shocking here, and I should stop you. But I can't really stop you before you say it, so... I'm just confused as all, Your Honor. How could Officer Chopin have possibly arrived at the scene of the crime when he couldn't have heard any gunshots? Unless he was asked to come there directly. Woo! Like you got an Evite? Exactly. Officer Chopin answered a distress call from the Blue Bloods. Oh. Tumult. Commotion, uproar, pandemonium. Tell me, are these your usual tactics? Turning the entire city against her for no discernible reason? No. Well, the first time we went, she did technically... Your Honor, the defense is completely out of line. I'd like to have her censured before the court. The gallery is pretty poorly behaved too. You could rein this in, or should I? Allow me. Derek Chopin was an upstanding officer with no marks on his record. You say he was some kind of blue blood pawn, but he had to break into their building in order to enter. And you have the gall to claim he answered the distress call, but there was no panic button? No phone record suggest one was ever sent?
True. True. That's why Sam posthumously accusing the son of 2 city councilmen of being corrupted by blue blood pocket change? Fair point. Chopin was the son of 2 city councilmen and by all accounts, a dedicated police officer. He wouldn't work with the Blue Bloods without an unusually strong motive. The kind of thing that will make the headlines. What are you? Kind of flex your media literacy? Game, I have been doing that! Choose to present the article that shows a motive for Chopin to work with Blue Bloods. Oh my god. You can read any articles like those on your phone. You already read them front to back, right? I did! I did! I love you, dude! Oh, there are different props. Okay. Let's skim. I don't think it's gonna be this one. It's not gonna be top one. What on to 1A, I think? Yeah. Officer Chopin would have never compromised his well-documented morals for anything less than an earth-shaking opportunity. Yes, Counselor, but his family is very well off. What could this earth-shaking opportunity possibly could have been? How about a donation to his parents? What? Sidebar, for a moment. What? How are y'all thinking about voting? Oh, don't get me started. I'm a political junkie. What are you? Sorry, on the ballot measures, specifically. Huh? Am I the only one who sweats over this stuff? Maybe it's old-fashioned, but I was hoping to hear some diverse and nuanced opinions on Proposition 492. Wait, but that's the funding of Atlas Pillar rejuvenation projects. I think it's a nice idea. Bringing prosperity to the lower wards, literal stability to everyone above them. And of course, the mother of all paydays to anyone lucky enough to own the land it will acquire. Wait a minute. You mean... you? Am I the only one who reads the news anymore? I wasn't counting on this being rhetorical, but who on the city council is sponsoring Proposition 492? Chopin's parents? One last question. Less rhetorical this time. This crime took place at a known blue blood property. So why was this found there? Yeah, the Redding is going to talk about... yes. Let me pick that one. Okay. Highly confidential Redding documents were found underneath Chopin's corpse. They're almost entirely illegible by now, but you can still make out a reference to P492 right here. That struck me as odd. Reinforcing the canopy. A state construction project that massive in the lower wards would mean. Even the police can't keep a crime scene secure down unless they're willing to play ball with the blues. They have to get past the blue bloods. Or through them, with open arms and firm handshakes. So what the hell are you trying to say? Counselor Morgan, if you... sorry. Wasn't sure I actually have to spell it out, but it certainly looks like... Patrol Officer Tarek Chopin was working with the Blue Blood Mafia to defraud the city. Uh-oh. This is so fun, man. I'm having so much fun. She said it.
She said that.
What did you say?
Are you trying to piss off every cop and every politician in the city? Sorry, I'll gladly retract my statement. That is, as soon as any cop or politician or prosecutor can explain to the court how Tara Chopin was able to arrive at the crime scene that night. Well, we all know damn well he never heard any gunshots.
There's a bit of pickle. But we got those with this.
What? I don't know. He had good ears or something. Or good intuition or whatever. Your Honor, the simplest explanation is that Officer Chopin was tipped off by a CI that he neglected to inform his partner about. Hey, Chopin wasn't a patrol officer with secret criminal informers that he'd hide from his own partner? That sounds horribly corrupt. Yeah, and you called my comments inflammatory?
A rage bait on her.
Corrupt? You got brass, alright. That's a real rich coming from a hound of economia.
Big O.
Your Honor, the witness's last statement was a regrettable slip at the time. Frankly, his entire testimony has been less than ideal, and so
I already set the jury's feed, but the crowd.
Seriously? He's the hound? But isn't the hound the crowd killing animals? Knew that the whole house stank like shit. What you say about a man's family? You... Oh, what, you'll stab us in the back too? Sosuke, please calm down and shut up. Bad Apple, hang the whole house with him. Your Honor, these outbursts from the gallery are not ideal, but we need to focus on preventing... Oh. And that's the first time I'm cussed out by the enemy. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'll try and behave, let's say.
It's not enough to eat butchered them like that. Animals. Gotta pay the floor to spit on his grave too. At least the Blue Bloods know their place. How dare you? Well, you pigs were colluding with the Blue Bloods to rip off everyone in the billboards. There are a Blue Blood in the piss running in the woods. Sarah, hold on. Pardon? Stop from doing anything stupid. Now. Okay, it was fun. But now you ruined it. We're all done. Court is now in recess. Bailiffs, clear the room. It's not enough. Nah, I'm not dot talking. I want to speak. Tell him, Rogers. We're in the house. Tension like haze in the air. Rip him out by the roots. From the back of my neck. Every last one. Should have taken you out when I had the chance. We just went in something that feels like... Oh. Die, you son of a bitch? No. Don't. What am I reaching for? I don't even have my gun. Oh, thank you, London. That was... Yeah, very insane shit. It's my mom. Mom was just checking over with me. Bless her heart. Alright. Hey, are you okay? Are you hit? Yeah, I'm not injured. Oh, Selski. Danger's gone. Be the moment of put on my lower back. Why did you push me down? What? What do you mean why? Why did I take my time turning back? Trace the bullet's trajectory. I'm aware of the stomping feet as the crowd rushes to the exits, but it sounds far away. Reflexes. Sorry. You alright there, ma'am? I'm fine. Thank you. From I lock eyes with Detective Kasim Lunda. In that instant, I recognized the nameless blank flicker across his face, cold and sharp like frostbitten furs. Nameless. I don't need a word for it because I've only ever seen it once. At the very end. Okay. I've taken 60 seconds to yell into couch pillow, so... Maybe now one of you could tell me what the hell happened out there?
How did that band get into the courtroom? The building. And with a weapon like... whatever the hell that was.
Sonar, not embarrassed. I happen to be allergic. The correct answer is the... It's hot springs, cold beer, warm tea. Well, I can't speak about the beer, but I do agree. It's like waking up before her alarm. Oh. Actually, no. That's like perfectly fine. Depending on the disparity there. I forget the password shorter than the characters. All right. Favorite season is fall. Me too. Nowadays it's just fall. A lot of legally and some literal chop shop. Fully prosthetic, but barely low tech. It uses a simple air intake system and projectiles made out of enamel.
Enamel as in teeth? Or do these people...
It doesn't trigger any metal flavors. Looks organic from the outside. But if you're gonna make it flesh, it's the job done.
And our metal detectors all that stay between a Grace gunman and the law of the land?
No, Your Honor. I'm looking into it now. We already found some discrepancies in the personnel files of the courthouse security team members. Probably got his hands on a keycard. Lost, bought, or stolen, and had it modified to get him in the building.
Would that work?
Only needs to work once. This time, did. I doubt he expected to be alive, so... If you ask me, we're lucky he's stuck with something more directed instead of an explosive.
This is a nightmare. What am I supposed to do now?
Sure, he must be horrified. I don't know how he could proceed. As I recall, the adjutant cut their feet the moment the officer out of the vehicle. They didn't actually see the shooter. And by the way, how does a patrol officer know that my client is the lead suspect in this? Anyone like to explain that to me? Well, you would have to ask organized crimes. But the mood around Rogers has been celebratory. I'd imagine there were plenty of cops eager to describe in detail what he did cheat by catching Sosuke red-handed. Allegedly. There's no presumption of innocence in station locker rooms and cop bars, Counsel.
So the OC department buys Rogers a round of drinks? 24 hours later, I've got a shooter in my courtroom.
Who was he? The shooter's been ID'd as a Bowen progressive, low-level muscle in the Blue Blood Mafia. Perhaps for possession, blame, assault. Carry out an assassination in courtroom for perhaps quite the step up. Action to creep pod? Older generation, part of town. Not exactly thick as thieves. But trying to execute Sosuke wasn't an act of revenge. Just giving orders.
Yes, that's very interesting, but it's a job for the police to handle. Counsel Morgan, I assume you'll be filing for a mistrial?
How about that? Feels in my client's best interest for the trial to continue. What?
What?
Yeah, what?
A blue blood gunman just tried to shoot him.
But the jury didn't see that. All they know right now is that they've been given a long lunch.
You too?
The goal, Your Honor, as I've always understood it, is for a defense attorney to do what's best for their client. Right now, clearly, the Blue Blood Mafia is convinced my client killed 4 of their men. Every cop in the city thinks he killed Officer Chopin. He walks on a mistrial. He won't be able to walk down the street without getting shit. Sosuke Ikudia doesn't need a mistrial. He needs an immediate blackout.
I really hate that term.
That's right, Your Honor. The story spreads that the Blue Bloods tried to assassinate Sosuke. Every juror in the city will assume he's guilty. Won't be able to find anyone over the age of 10 who hasn't heard of it. Let alone put together 12 unbiased peers to judge him.
Even if that's true, and even if it's possible, what are you asking for?
Detective, is the building still in lockdown? Standard procedure says to keep it that way another half hour.
We would have to. Hands are full of police officers, and any one of them could.
Conversation will play prime for a story this rich. Someone's gonna break right. I don't need the blackout to last forever. Just need to be intimidating enough that the story doesn't cause over.
Which will be when exactly?
We finish tomorrow. There aren't that many witnesses left in the docket.
Finished. Tomorrow?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ugh. I'm fine, yes, we'll have a blackout. Big, scary old blackout, like with the shadowy masses of the universe. Happy?
Perfectly. Thank you, Your Honor.
Detective, follow me. You'll need my authority to read the blanket protocols.
Right behind you, ma'am. Alright. Nice to be arguing for the same thing as you for once. Thanks for not gagging from the effort. Any other defense attorney in the city would have taken a mistrial. I'm the Hound of Iguria and some other idiot's doorstep and cast their check. Some other idiot, huh? Where's that you can't dump him? You under house arrest already? I haven't felt frightened by them. Change fast if you kill them. I'll see you in high society. Haven't you heard? I'm beneath their notice. I don't think they bother to ask me just for underperforming. Sounds like exactly the kind of thing that high society types would do. Going this far for your client, though. You know me. Defender of the weak, the downtrodden. Go through a lot more than. Hopefully, when the story does eventually, focus should entirely be on Sosuke. This child means people will start recognizing me, bring me. Owen Breslin will be glad London did a mid one. Which was the life second hand. Yeah. Compared to you, I guess not. I've never seen you shop before. Oh. Right. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, that was... Yeah, I'm feeling jealous. I spent all this time poring over crime scenes, diagrams, trying to get inside the head of the heartbreak of all people, and... Maybe I get into my head that I'm some kind of unfeeling badass. So freeze up like a deer at the sight of actual violence. I'll need to get over that. Do you? Need to? Get over it? I have a responsibility. Prosecutor is a hangman, huh? No. The hangman does their job right. The neck snaps and the subject's dead before the pain ever reaches their brain. If I do my job right, Whiskey Greer spends the rest of his life drooling on himself while Meg's haggle over the property rights. It's gray matter. Feel that bad about it. You could always recommend a lesser sentence. That's just the thing. I've never felt that bad about it at all. Runs in the family. The way she whispered it, in that half-stuttering sigh. Not sure she even heard it herself. Alright, that should free up your phone from the blanket. Thank you, Detective London. You're, welcome, Counselor Morgan? Like I said, didn't say anything yesterday about what the Hand of Career really is. Come on, a lot of code names to remember. Would you believe me if I said I didn't put two and two together? Maybe I would if I hadn't seen you act that fast back in the courtroom. That was a lucky shot. Cap. Across the room with the crowd moving around him? Oh, real lucky. I know, I'm agreeing with you. Be a lot less lucky if you were, say, already watching him. Did you know? No. But I'm flattered you think I'm brave enough to stick around for a shooting that I knew would happen. But you recognized him. Stick the spot back in the back of my brain, even in a disguise. It helped that the guy was fidgeting around all day. Hasn't that been the whole day? How long did he wait for to take a shot? Did you get a good look at him? I did not. Shot him very fast. Eyes bloodshot to hell and back. Nosebleed, plus extremities. As high as a drone. Probably at a hexaphone room. Considering how well the blue was at them pushing him. Meta hex. Nirvana? Why did you the college kids are having? Been a long time since I was in college. I guess it could be a party in small doses. I'm hypothesizing here. Don't take this out of context. Sure. But at higher doses? A couple of months ago, I saw this guy stumbling around one of the open markets. Eyes dilated, mouth moving a block a minute. He knocked over some bicycles, so I cuffed him to the rack, hoping he'd sober up within the hour and I could move on. Took a phone call, and when I looked back, he was trying to chew through the chain. The fuck? He broke 14. And he had started biting his arm by the time I knocked him out. Ugh. But anecdotes are cheap, and one bad trip will hardly slow the ball now that it's rolling. You believe the hype?
Think they're gonna legalize it?
Within the next 2 quarters, if you ask me.
What will happen to the Blue Bloods monopoly?
Up in smoke. Pharma makes the dispensaries of the world will step in to reap the reward. The Blue Bloods will have to slink off and cook up some other haze to push. Great tide rolls on.
The Blue Bloods have legitimate income sources, right? Like, sinus?
Yeah, some of them are pretty profitable, like most clubs and pink rooms.
So if the Blue Bloods can run those businesses just fine, why can't they stay in control of Nirvana once it's legalized?
There's competition, and name recognition, and locale, and real estate, and basically, they can't afford it. The buying's too steep, and everyone past the door likes it that way. Field drugs are a whole other realm of profitable. Looks like the eager do not want to share.
Not even on special occasions?
Well, like I told you, there was that meeting last year, but
But their playdate fell apart.
hey, what's that back at the court? Prop 492? You really buy that? Tarek Chopin working with Blue Bloods?
Quite the unlikely pairing, I'll admit. That might explain why it ended the way it did.
True.
So what was the verdict? The verdict is only handed down after the jury's finished deliberating. That may take.
The show must go on. And the shooter?
Getting introduced to the accommodations down at the morgue. Right about now. Oh, he got murked. Jeez.
I thought he was injured, not kirked.
Here's some blue blood muscle named Crescent. Ring a bell?
As I've said, all these Blue Bloods are...
Tried to shoot you, Sosuke. I was standing very close to you when it happened. I'd like a little more detail than that.
I've never met him, never heard of him. That's the truth. But the Bresson family is known to be enforcers for Blue Blood leadership.
What's the old guard who wants you dead? Does that make the Youngbloods an enemy?
Did you tell me Greek was a young blood? They should have gone on trial for it. I doubt they're fond of it either.
God damn it, Sosuke. Doesn't hate your ass. I need to try to disregard the nonsense that comes out of that student's mouth. Might be starting to sink in. Sosuke, you were captured when you could have been ignored. You were tortured when you could have been ransomed. And now these people are trying to kill you in one of the most secure buildings in the city. What are they after? Why are you at the top of the Blue Blood shit list?
It's because of...
It's because of what happened a year ago?
How do you know about?
What happened a year ago? Sorry, what happened a year ago? Reading between the old guard and the house, apparently. You were gonna work out a deal for the Ikaria network to distribute a Blue Blood product.
Why would you want the basement cooked swill the Blue Bloods make sold in our storefronts? Our pharmacies?
You wouldn't. Until after Nirvana's legalized. Yes, I figured some stuff out. Stop pouting.
There was a meeting last year. Yes. A private meeting that was to be kept strictly confidential. The FG met with the old guards to discuss the deal. It fell apart. Voices were raised, weapons drawn. I was in the shadows, and I stepped from a blade from Makoto. The house elders were perturbed afterwards. Feared for Makoto's safety, and perhaps feel that they had grown overconfident. The hound's a useful tool, but not indispensable. So they ordered me to guard Makoto, full time.
Isn't that a great honor? Guarding the heir to the headship.
Of course it is.
Then why do you sound like that? You have points for picking up on it, but you need to learn how to take advantage of it. So your deal fell apart. Blood was drawn. I kind of assumed that was par for the course in your role.
It's not unheard of. But why are the old guards still trying to kill you in Makoto a year later? I don't know. I don't know, Morgan. Because I'm not an old guard.
Is there someone we could talk to who is?
You're right, I think? Was it? There's always someone. Or a price. But that's how it's gonna go? Gonna need a drink first. Nah, we're gonna go to the bar. Okay. Join? What are you talking about? Sorry to disappoint, but I was here first. That's slow shit in this school. No one else comes here if they don't have to, so it's a quiet spot to read. Yeah, it is detective mystery. So what? Like, 5% of the books in the library are. Well, not like I own the room. Want to convene your club meetings here with all your many members? I can't exactly sue you. Not since you're gonna be some big shot lawyer. Join your club so I won't get evicted? Isn't that like blackmail counseling? Usually beneficial, sure, so just plain old corruption. You'll do just fine out there in the adult world. Whatever. As long as you don't go around telling people I'm a member, you can put me down. Data phone numbers too? No, I don't actually care. Is something wrong? Why do you think that something's wrong? It's very unusual for you to wake up mid-transit. When you decide to nap, you fall asleep very fast and you sleep very deeply. Suspiciously so. Sometimes I'll try to wake you and I could swear you're just pretending. I have no idea what to talk about. Besides, you're the one who's been quiet. I had been bothering Sosuke, I think. Pestering him about catching bullets. You were bothering Sosuke, didn't say it. I'm deciding that bitchy pose a bit. But I can't catch a bullet either. So I'm fast, and I can see fast. Sosuke was the one who acted while I just... Must be trained for that exact kind of thing. Trained for his whole life the way he tells it.
Father built me to be strong. I should be able to...
He didn't build you to be anything, Sarah. He didn't even really build you. Just watch you grow.
And do you think I am still growing? Still developing? Do you think I could get taller? Work... play for the Lakers? Or the Toronto Raptors?
I think you shouldn't get your hopes up about that. Come on. You can bounce back faster than that.
I'm sorry. I suppose I am. Still processing what we saw back in the courtroom.
When Detective London took out the shooter?
I know that Detective London has been a police officer for many years. It stands to reason that he'd act decisively in circumstances where so many lives are at risk. What I am still thinking about is the man he killed.
Yeah, but there's only so much speculating we can do about his motive until...
I am not thinking about his motive. I am thinking about how he is dead.
You haven't been out about that long. Everything's new to you. Even the most ordinary stuff. Guess I forgot that includes the extraordinary, too.
You've seen violence like that before, then?
Yes, I have.
Seen people die?
Yes, I have.
Seen more people die than most your age? Most lawyers?
Probably a safe bet.
This is a private subject, isn't it?
Death is always private. I'm no exception.
Do people ever get used to it?
I can only speak for myself.
Have you gotten used to it?
Every time is like the first time.
I hope that everyone is like you, then. Doesn't seem like the kind of thing anyone should get used to.
Sorry to disappoint you, then. There are no people like me. Okay. I feel like since it's the second day of the investigation, I'm pretty sure We can just for a drink tomorrow. I feel like this was a pretty good pace that we took for the stream. Yeah, almost 4 hours. It's not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, you probably will finish tomorrow? That's good, that's good. And then I suppose, once we finish it tomorrow, what's the name? If we finish it tomorrow, that's probably, Kanto 9 on Friday, and then if not, then it's just Kanto 9 on Monday, which, yeah, I'm pretty excited to get to that too. Regardless, remember to save here. I think they actually fixed the thing, but you can just see the evidence you can use during the witness testimony thing, which is a little sad. That was the only one I can remember most of it. In the meantime, y'all, I suppose I'll see y'all next time. Thank you for stopping by, everyone. Peace.
That.